quality cars, SUVs, and minivans. To learn more, visit kia.com. And brought to you in part by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By BlackBerry. Connect to everything you love in life with BlackBerry. And by Zantac. Heartburn? Attack it. Zantac.
It has turned out to be a very cool and windy night in Boston. The temperature is dropping rapidly as the wind has really shifted in the last 20 minutes. Here at Fenway Park, it's 66 degrees. Winds out of the northwest at 15 miles an hour. We may have gusts up to 25 or 30 miles an hour for the first half hour of tonight's Game 5. Then things should settle down weather-wise as the Rays and Red Sox play here tonight. TBS MLB postseason brought to you in HD by DirecTV, delivering the most sports in HD. The Rays have a 3-1 series lead, and here is their starting lineup brought to you by Kia Motors. Akinori Iwamura again leads off at second base with red-hot B.J. Upton hitting second in center field. Carlos Peña's the first baseman, hits third. Evan Longoria is the cleanup man over at third base. Then Carl Crawford in left. Cliff Floyd back in there as the designated hitter. Dioner Navarro, the catcher, batting seventh. Gabe Gross back in the lineup in right field, hitting eighth. And Jason Bartlett in his customary ninth spot. He will play shortstop. The season for the Red Sox, fellas, rests on the right arm, right shoulder of Daisuke Matsuzaka tonight in Game 5.
Well, 20 wins if you include his postseason, and 26 innings, 26 and 2/3 and 5 postseason starts, 26 Ks for Daisuke. Scouting report, of course, on Daisuke. Big fight for Tampa. They hope he can pitch well enough to get him back down to Tampa Bay, neutralize the running game, which he's done pretty well this year, and pitch inside. Even his manager, Terry Francona, says the Red Sox pitchers have to pitch more efficiently inside these Tampa Bay.
So Matsuzaka finishing up his warm-up tosses tonight. Let's join our colleague Craig Sager downstairs. Hello, Craig.
Well, speaking of Terry Francona called a team meeting tonight before the team took the field. His first since August 1st. That was the day after Manny Ramirez was traded. I was told it was not a scouting report about Tampa Bay, nor was it a history lesson about Boston, but a short and dynamic message about the character of this team. And to put an exclamation mark on it, Curt Schilling, the heart and soul of so many championship teams here in Boston. Throughout the ceremonial first pitch, he's been out all year with shoulder surgery, but he's joining the team in the dugout tonight.
And I'll bet they wish they had Curt Schilling healthy and 100% for this playoff series against the Tampa Bay Rays. But good to see Schilling at the ballpark tonight for Game 5.
He certainly represents exactly what they need tonight to keep this series alive.
So Daisuke ready to go. Akinori Iwamura in the box for the Rays in a pivotal Game 5. And ball one is taken high. Daisuke was brilliant in Game 1 of this series. 7+ innings, no hits through 6 for Matsuzaka. Early bases on balls were a problem, but somehow this man continues to wiggle off the hook whenever he pitches himself or the opponents hit themselves into trouble for him.
Well, hitters this year hit 164. That's best in the American League with runners in scoring position. Watch early, though. Both of these pitchers not known for the control in very windy conditions.
That's up and away for ball 2.
The hitting coach for Tampa Bay, Steve Henderson, gave his hitters this approach. He said, go up there, don't try to get into the patterns with Matsuzaka. Hit him as if it's a spring training start and you're not familiar with him. Get a good pitch to hit and square up on it.
And an off stride to even the count of 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And that's a good point, because when you face Matsuzaka, he can be so unpredictable that it's better not to think along with him. Just kind of make it simple again. See a good pitch, try to put it in play.
Well, in Game 1, he walked the bases loaded. The Rays didn't get him. If you don't get him early, is that a problem for Tampa Bay tonight?
Yeah, once he has a few swings and misses, he really gets confidence.
And he misses inside the first full count of the night.
Yeah, he's going to have full counts, and Terry Francona and John Farrell, the pitching coach, both know that you have to be patient with him early, but he's like he's out there on a surveying mission, just kind of going here and there, seeing what'll work, seeing if the fish will be biting early.
Well, you don't want to have men on in front of Upton, Peña, and Longoria in tonight's Game 5. That group has been turning in some devastating offensive work. in the first 4 games of this series. And Iwamura tries to coax an early walk against Daisuke. Hot shot, base hit. Leadoff man aboard for the Rays. Iwamura, a clean single to right. So the table set, fellas, for Upton, Pena, and Longoria. Again, these 3 have had a great series.
Well, they sure have, and B.J. Upton is healthy again. His shoulder injury is not a concern. You can see the power. He's hit 5 home runs, and Evan Longoria may have gotten the most important hit in this series in the 2nd inning of Game 2. He got his club back in it. You can see what they have done. Most home runs by teammates under 25 in a single postseason. They have combined to hit 10 long balls.
And here is Upton. 5 homers in his last 22 at-bats in the postseason. And he looks at a ball outside, 1-0 the count.
Well, Muck made a good point, and the point is that swing and misses are so important for Matsuzaka early in the game. If he doesn't get them, even more with the hit, he tends to be very reluctant to go with his fastball over the plate.
Iwamura short lead at first. And a late swing and a miss by Upton. Game 1, Upton flied out to left in the first inning down at Tropicana Field. That game was won eventually by the Red Sox by a 2-0 score. Swing and a high fly ball hammered left field up toward that monster, and that ball is gone. A home run. B.J. Upton hits another home run, and it's 2-0 Tampa Bay before an out has been recorded.
Again, an inside pitch that doesn't get inside. You can see it's not hard enough inside, and he hits his 6th home run in this postseason.
Well, that's been the problem. The scouting report they've had is to kind of rush these guys inside, tie them up inside, but they have not been able to make the pitch.
And it doesn't take long for the Rays bench to get excited here in Game 5. Here's Pena. And he takes a strike. And again, the deafening silence that we have heard in each of these 3 games at Fenway Park.
They're stunned.
Nothing and 1 the count to Northeastern University's Carlos Pena.
Well, let me tell you, if the wind wasn't blowing in 25 or 30 miles an hour, that ball would have cleared everything. Just barely got out. Turned the wind around, really.
So an enormous postseason for B.J. Upton. And a 2-run Tampa Bay lead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Some pretty good company there for B.J. Upton, and this is his first playoff experience.
Barry Bonds with 8. Carlos Beltran, Troy Gloss, and then B.J. Upton, 6 home runs. 8 others tied with 6 home runs in 1 postseason.
And if there's another trend we have seen in this series, is that Boston has fallen way behind early in these games.
You see the home run from up top. And the fans reached over, but that definitely made it over the fence. Well, the first 3 innings in the last 4 games, Tampa Bay 16 runs, Boston measly 4.
And there's one of those inside pitches that Daisuke is looking for. Pena's caught looking. And there's your first out in this first inning.
Well, that is that Shuto we talked about. That ball moves from left to right. 2-seam fastball thrown at the hip of Pena. The very last second moves towards Varitek and over the middle, inside part of the plate.
So Evan Longoria is the hitter. He's homered in 3 straight games in this American League Championship Series. And he takes outside ball 1. Longoria, 27 home runs in the regular season.
interesting about this young Rays team, and obviously the insiders around the baseball world knew how good they were before the start of this postseason. But I think now the baseball fans around the country are really getting a feel for Joe Maddon's club. That's the 17th home run they've hit in the postseason. Philadelphia had 10. The Red Sox and the Dodgers have hit 8.
And there's a strike. And should they make it to the World Series and face the Phillies, they'd be playing a Philadelphia club that also has a very cozy short porch to left field at Citizens Bank Park. The outside corner, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think they've been trying to pitch Longoria a little bit too much inside. I think they've just pounded him inside so much, and he's so quick. It's going to be interesting to see if they try to get him out away in this game tonight.
They stay away again, and it's a 3-2 count.
Matsuzaka will throw 3 and 4 sliders in a row because he has that much confidence in it.
In the air to shallow right, J.D. Drew is there, and Longoria is out number 2.
Now let's take a look at the defense behind Daisuke Matsuzaka. Bay, Crisp, and J.D. Drew in the outfield, and it continues to be Kevin Youkilis at third. Jed Lowry starts at shortstop. Pedroia up the middle. Mark Kotze's done a good job at first base. Jason Varitek gets back behind the plate tonight, trying to guide Daisuke Matsuzaka through this very powerful Rays lineup.
And Carl Crawford hits with the bases empty. Crawford had an unbelievable game 4. A 5-hit night for Carl Crawford.
Well, he just had everything working. He was able to hit the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield early. And you know, with that great speed, of course, nice try by Wakefield, but not able to make the play in Crawford. And this is when he's at his best. Ball out over the plate, going the other way.
So for Crawford in game 4, a pair of doubles, a pair of singles, a stolen base, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. All he's done in this series, 9 hits and 18 tries against Boston. Swing and a drive center field. Wind should knock that down. Coco Crisp has it. Daisuke allows 2, and that is all to Tampa Bay. Scott Kazmir to the mound with an early lead in game 5 in Boston. Well, I'm sure Terry Francona wishes it was the other way around, that he was up 3-1. They have been there. They have won that, and they're down 2 runs early tonight as the Red Sox Kia Motors starting lineup shapes up with Coco Crisp leading off. Dustin Pedroia bats and plays second. Big Papi the DH. Kevin Youkilis the cleanup man at third with Jason Bay in left. J.D. Drew in right. The lower third, Jed Lowry at shortstop. The catcher, Jason Varitek. And Mark Kotze at first base. Will bat ninth. Scott Kazmir takes the ball for the Tampa Bay Rays, trying to end it and send them to the World Series.
You know, Joe Maddon was talking about Kazmir. He said, you know, people tend to forget he's been our best pitcher the last 5 seasons. A 47-37 career record in the regular season. 10 games over 500 with a perennial second division club. So he has the ability. First inning Blues, 37 pitches in Chicago, 38 against the Red Sox. Keep the ball in the park. He's given up a lot of home runs and handled Pedroia, who's really hit him hard. 16 for 28.
Coco Crisp gets the start in the leadoff spot tonight. Interesting. Earlier in the series, Terry Francona had him batting down in the batting order.
Yeah, they don't like to restrict him, hitting him in that leadoff spot, making him think he's got to take pitches. He's a much better free swinger. But Francona tonight said, if I put Crisp in the leadoff spot, I don't have to mess with the rest of the order. I can leave Pedroia, Ortiz, and Youkilis right there where they are, and that middle of the order needs to be intact if they're going to stay alive in this championship series.
And nowhere near with ball 4. And boy, how rare a sight is this for the Red Sox. A leadoff man is on in this game and in this series.
It was interesting to watch, wasn't it, guys? Before the game, when most clubhouses, all the players are in the food room or lost here and there, all the Red Sox players had their chairs facing each other in a square, looking at each other eye to eye, trying to size each other up and say, are we ready for this? Can we come back and do this? It's an interesting clubhouse. I've never seen one like that in a long time.
Well, here's Dustin Pedroia, 7 for 15 in the series. And how rare has it been for Pedroia against Tampa Bay? This is only the 3rd time in this series he's taken an at-bat with a man on base. But he does have a 5-game postseason hit streak working in tonight's first inning. And that one finds the zone to even the count.
Kazmir has really scuffled in his last 6 starts in the first inning. He's given up 10 first inning runs and thrown 159 pitches in those 6 first innings. So you can bet Boston's going to make him work.
Well, you see against some of the best lefties in baseball, you can see what Pedroia does against them. Against the best, he comes up the best. You know, describing Kazmir, 159 pitches in the first innings of 6 starts. It should be more around 90.
Swing and a drive down the left field line, but out in front.
Dustin Pedroia loves hard fastballs, and that's what he gets from Scott Kazmir. He's hit 3 home runs against him this year, including 2 in Game 2. He really got the offense started getting high fastball after high fastball, and he doesn't miss many of those.
And remember, Kazmir's strength is down, not up. His ball straightens up.
And Game 2 was the slugfest in this series. 7 combined home runs by the Rays and Red Sox. And a ground ball slowly hit to Longoria. Only 1 play. And he makes it. Runner to second. 1 out for David Ortiz now. It's been a rough series for Big Papi David Ortiz against this Tampa Bay ball club. 1 for 14. But the Red Sox nation saying that big triple in Game 4 might be just what the doctor ordered. That and yesterday's day off.
Well, he needs to come up with a big hit, and he's got an early opportunity. He's 8 for 40 against Scott Kazmir. It's not a great matchup for him, but you can see kind of a half-hearted standing ovation as the fans are saying, Big Papi, we need you, man.
It was the walk of David Ortiz in these 2 teams' last matchup that really caused Kazmir some trouble down in Tropicana Field.
Well, he retired the first 2 hitters so easily and then got out of whack again through those 38 pitches like we said he did. But the key was Ortiz in batting practice today. All he did was play pepper with that left field wall, just trying to stay on top of that fastball away.
No balls and a strike to him. Took a shot at left field, but was late and is quickly down. 0-2.
Coco Crisp was jockeying off second base, and he had a pretty good jump, but he was reluctant to break toward third. This team that has run so well all year long has but 1 steal in the postseason series, the championship series. They have not been able to run simply because they've been down early.
And no leadoff men on in any great numbers. And Ortiz down on strikes. A high fastball got him. 2 outs.
Well, this series has featured great defense. The Rays have played well all year long in the outfield. Crawford, Upton, and Gabe Gross returns to right. Longoria and Bartlett on the left side. Iwamura and Pena on the right side. And the owner Navarro has done a heck of a job with his young pitching staff, growing into the role of a true leader behind the plate.
And Buck, you mentioned, might be a night for the right-hand hitters to try to take over against Kazmir. Here's Youkilis. 7 out of 18 in the series. Wind blowing straight in at Fenway Park. And nearly hit him with ball 1.
Well, before Dustin Pedroia made that out, the 3 hitters, Pedroia, Youkilis, and Bay, have hit .416 in this series. And they really wore out Kazmir in Game 2. The trio was 5 for 8 and hit 3 home runs.
And so much of Boston's offense in the division series against the Angels came with 2 outs.
Well, Youkilis in game 2 got that fastball that was supposed to be in. That ball was up, jumped all over it. And we just saw it there. Kazmir tried to throw a little slider. Not a lot of break on it. That's really been the tail of his second half. Great breaking pitch early in the season, and then he kind of lost it.
Big gap in left center for Youkilis if he can fill it here in the first. And Kazmir again missing way outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Jason Bay waiting next.
George Hendrick, Dave Martinez, and Joe Madden. Hendrick's the first base coach. Martinez is the bench coach.
A lot to be smiling about if you're a Rays fan so far. 3-0. 2 first-inning walks for Kazmir. And Jason Bay, the hitter.
Well, one thing that Joe Madden told us before the game in his evaluation of Scott Kazmir early was he was going to be concerned if he was throwing balls. He said if he's throwing pitches and they're hitting him, I'll kind of stick with him because I think he can work out of it. But if he's walking guys, you don't really get a gauge for how good his stuff is.
Well, Boston again has another man up in this spot that they should feel pretty happy about. Jason Bay's 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position in this series. The rest of the Red Sox team 4 for 31. Ball 1.
That's tough pitching the way that Kazmir is pitching. That good changeup, that'd be great if the count was 1-2 or 0-2. But that changeup is his best changeup, throwing on the first pitch when Bay is going to really be eyeballing to see if he's going to throw a strike.
There's nothing to change off of.
95 miles an hour to even the count.
When he's down in the strike zone, that could mean 2-3 miles an hour for him, and you can see it right there.
How big is a run for Boston in this first inning?
Well, you know, I mean, it's only 2-0. I think just for their confidence, I think it'll be good to get these right-handed hitters going.
Didn't get the corner. 2 balls and a strike.
But you can see how patient the Red Sox hitters are. They're seeing the ball very well. That's a product of facing him in game 2. Dave Maggin and the hitting coach said, you know what, let's don't even worry about the slider. He's shown us that he can't throw it for strikes. So look, fastball, changeup, 2 pitches.
High pop. Wynn might play some tricks with this. Upton has to come all the way over to shallow right center, and he makes the catch to retire the side. 2 walks for Kazmir in a 21-pitch first inning, and he leads the game. Rays off to a good start in what could be a clinching night for them in Boston, and you can get exclusive camera angles, behind the scenes info, and more online with TBS Hot Corner. Check it out now at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner. In the Tampa Bay second, Cliff Floyd, Deanna Navarro, and Gabe Gross are coming up against Dice K. He served up a 2-run homer into the teeth of that very brisk win into the first row in the monster seats in inning number 1. And a good cut has Floyd in an even count.
You know, Joe Madden can't say enough good things about Cliff Floyd. An acquisition this winter. He came over. He helped them talk to the young hitters. And he also did it. Cliff has always been a winner. Every place he goes, he's a winner. But he does it because he keeps it light at the same time of helping these young players become professionals.
Well, when he first came to camp, Joe Madden didn't really know Cliff Floyd, and he was speaking to the young outfielders, and Joe said, hey, why don't you give the young outfielders a few pointers? And he sat down and for about 15 minutes held court. From that point forward, Joe Madden said, I don't have to worry about any of these kids around Cliff Floyd.
Floyd out of Chicago. Rips 1 foul past first. Now the count to him, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And you know this as well as I do, Buck. Young guys do not want to have an older player come in and be one of those guys that, you know what, when we played hard. We played tough. You guys don't know how to play that way. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear that nice approach that Cliff has.
Dice K trying to settle in here in the second. Floyd the leadoff man. Now with a 2-2 count. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Ronnie, is it tough pitching in a series like this where you know you're going to face a team twice, sometimes 3 times in a 7-game series?
Yeah, of course it is. I think the key is that as a pitcher, you've got to recognize at bats. So you have your game plan coming in, but someone might be more educated, might be smarter than you are, and reacts of how you pitched him the first time. You've got to be able to counter that guy reacting to you.
Another 3-2 count, this time to Cliff Floyd, and it's pop foul and no play.
That's the challenge for a starter normally, because even during the course of one game you might have to change your approach 2 or 3 times. If they get on your fastball early in the game, you might have to go to a breaking ball. But don't you feel like a pitcher like Matsuzaka or yourself, if you're executing your pitches and hitting your spots, pretty much you've got the upper hand?
Yeah, you've always got to feel that you are the kind of pitcher who's going to dictate the action, that your strengths are going to be stronger than the hitter's strengths.
Already 3 full counts from Matsuzaka in the game. And Floyd a squibber left side. Youkilis has time and gets him by a step. Good play, 1 out.
Well, I can't say enough about Kevin Youkilis and his ability to go from first to third and not miss a beat. He had to wait on that ball a bit and make sure he got a good hop and unload it in a hurry. Cliff Floyd doesn't run as well as he once did, but he got down the line in pretty good shape.
Of course, the Red Sox without Mike Lowell in this series, and should they come back and beat Tampa Bay, Lowell will not be able to play in the World Series. He's due to have surgery on Monday to repair that torn hip labrum. And with that, Youkilis moves from first over to third, as Buck mentioned. Here's Navarro, and he swings and misses for strike 1. It took the Rays more than 6 innings to pick up their first hit against Matsuzaka in game 1. The very first hitter of tonight's game reached with a clean single. That was Iwamura. Then Upton followed with a home run.
I say one thing tonight that we didn't see early on is that Matsuzaka trusts his fastball already. The only one that was put into play was the home run, so I think he's feeling pretty good about what he's featuring right now.
That one clocked at 95.
Yeah, he's got good stuff tonight, and the Rays might have seen their best pitch to hit early in this game. It looks to me like he is really confident right now and going to be able to use that fastball.
Over the outside corner, Navarro took that for a second strike call.
You know, Joe Madden gave us the scouting report, says whenever they've faced Dice K in the past, looked like he pitched around the strike zone with his fastball to get to his breaking pitch. Last game, just the opposite, carrying into this game here.
No hesitation for Dice K as he gets the sign and back to work, and a liner back to the mound.
Well, that's a product of a good delivery because he finishes up in a perfect fielding position. Look how balanced he is right there, and he's got the ability to make a catch on a wicked line drive.
There are a lot of people will tell you as a pitcher, if you square up, you got 2 eyeballs on it, not one, under the guys that kind of like fall through to the first base side. Ready? I think Navarro caught that a little off the outside part of the bat. A nice catch by Matsuzaka.
So a second out in the second inning for Gabe Gross. And Matsuzaka can really flash the leather and save himself a second inning hit.
Another thing that tells you he feels real good about what he's throwing is he's working very quickly. When he grabs a rosin, takes a lot of time between pitches. He's not really sure what he's got at that moment.
Now everything's starting to really dart, dance, and move, isn't it? 0-2.
I also think as a starting pitcher, one of the things you hate to do is when you have good stuff, to waste it. And I think he's angry at that 2-run home run in the first inning, and he's trying to make up for it.
What did Joe Madden say early in this series? It's a mortal sin to waste good pitching. Red Sox down 2. Don't want to waste this start from Matsuzaka.
Yeah, Yeah, he can do just about anything Varitek wants him to do right now. Varitek wanted that elevated fastball. He threw it right where the glove was, and Gross just got a piece of it.
He can pile up the pitches early and then settle into a groove, and it looks like he's starting that now. 0-2 count. Now a 1-2 count.
Well, nice pitching there by Dice K. Fastball on the knees away first pitch. Change up for a swinging strike. High fastball taken. Change up taken. He's open for the inside for that little pitch he threw to Pena that comes back over the inside part of the plate.
Just a little bit low to Gabe Gross, who was 0 for 3 against Dice K in game 1 of this series. Gross struck out twice in his only 3 at-bats of that first game. He's also looking for his first hit of this American League Championship Series. He's 0 for 6.
That's a great fastball. That just missed away at 96 miles an hour with late movement.
Sometimes you say to yourself, boy, the hitter's got to be great to be able to take this pitch. Sometimes it just beats you.
Yeah, why swing at it if you can't hit it?
4-3-2 count of the game.
Boy, he can make you take some funny swings. That was a slider right in on Gross's hands after that 96-mile-an-hour sinker down and away.
Was it Gross that had maybe the prototypical at bat against Matsuzaka in game 1?
Yes, it sure was in that big inning where they had a chance to get back in the game, and he really took a wicked swing on a 3-2 pitch and struck out.
Dice K looking for the same here to end the second and turn it over to his offense. But he lost him. A 2-out walk, and it brings up Jason Bartlett, the shortstop. So good patience by Gross to coax a walk. First one of those tonight from the Red Sox right-hander, and it prolongs the second inning.
Well, this Fenway faithful, they were quiet after the 2-run home run by Upton, but a lot different from the other games. They're imploring their team to play better, up off their feet. Every 2-strike count by Dice K.
Bartlett just 1 for 14 lifetime against Matsuzaka. And that's in the dirt. Ball 1. MLB postseason en Espanol. Live MLB postseason Spanish language feed is available via SAP. Bartlett hit .286 in the regular season, drove in 37 runs. He is 3 for 16 in the ALCS. And Gross measures off a pretty good lead. He's going. Pitch low. Varitek's throw high and not in time. And this guy's so much a part of the Tampa Bay offense. They are not afraid to run with 2 outs.
Gabe Gross with just 3 steals in the regular season, but moves himself into scoring position with 2 outs. Really caught Varitek flat-footed. Now the Rays have stolen 13 of 14 during the postseason.
And great time to steal. He just walked Gross. He had thrown a first pitch ball to Bartlett. What's a pitcher thinking about? Just concentrating on the strike zone to get a strike. Took his eye off the runner at first base.
So the Rays 6 out of 6 in stolen bases against the Red Sox in this series. And now a 2-out hit could make it a 3-run lead. They have power. They have speed. They have starting pitching, a solid bullpen. They catch the ball. These Rays are for real. And Bartlett, a man that Joe Madden has called his one indispensable player, is ahead in the count in this second. And he hits a towering fly ball to left. Bay battles the wind. He's under it. He's got it. Dice K out of trouble in inning number 2. J.D. Drew leads things off for the Red Sox, down 2-0. Well, Scott Kazmir threw only 9 strikes in the first inning, but still got 3 outs and stranded 2 men. And leads by 2 runs with J.D. Drew leading things off. Drew just 1 hit in his last 10 at-bats this postseason. And only 1 for 7 lifetime against Scott Kazmir.
Well, we talked about the switch to Kazmir from Shields. Shields was scheduled to pitch this game. When they got to Boston, Joe Maddon spoke to Kazmir, told him, hey, there might be a chance we'll use you in game 5. He didn't tell James Shields until after game 4. So Shields was good with it. He has pitched much better at home. Shields' record in this ballpark is 0-3. His record at home this year is 9-2. He's been dramatically better at home. He pitched great in game 1 against Daisuke Matsuzaka.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Drew. And in the case of Kazmir, he's pitched very well, historically speaking, at times in this ballpark. And maybe more importantly for Joe Maddon is the way that he can utilize his entire pitching staff with Kazmir starting tonight rather than back in Tampa Bay.
Well, with the day off tomorrow, that is the key. He knows that Kazmir has been a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. He's going to have to use everyone. And I think more importantly, people might ask, well, why did he tell Kazmir, Joe Maddon, and not tell Shields? Well, Kazmir was a maybe to start, and you don't want the guy who's starting to be a maybe to start. You want him to be 100% glued, ready to go. Now he can make an exception and get ready for Saturday's game.
The other side issue revolves around the umpiring crew, and that is Darryl Cousins, who's at first base tonight, would be behind the plate if this series goes back to St. Petersburg for game 6. Kazmir and Cousins didn't see eye to eye over the strike zone earlier this summer. In fact, Joe Maddon was thrown out of that particular ball game as Kazmir made an early exit. In fact, Kazmir said the strike zone was unbelievable. They called him a shoebox as far as the strike zone of Cousins was concerned. As Drew strokes a shot to short, Bartlett to his left on a 3-2 count, makes the play, and there is out number 1. And here is the flashback to June 11th against the Angels.
Well, really, these are 3 pitches out of a sequence. Maddon was yelling at Cousins. To me, these 3 balls are all out of the strike zone, but Kazmir was frustrated, let his feelings be said. And it's one of those things that for any starting pitcher, you never want to express how you feel about an umpire to the paper. Let your manager take care of it, which Maddon did.
Yeah, and I don't know there's a manager that would adjust his rotation simply because of a previous incident. You can't worry about that in a matchup. There's just no way that can happen. I think Joe Maddon has a very legitimate reason for starting Scott Kazmir, the most important of which is the off day tomorrow where he can unload his bullpen if necessary.
So far, Kazmir looking good with 1 out, bases clear, and Jed Lowry up. Lowry, too, struggling. 1 for 10 in this series, and the lower portion of the Red Sox order really has had trouble putting together any kind of an attack for Terry Francona.
Which in an American League attack, if the bottom of the order doesn't get on base, then your big guys never come up with people on base.
And when they have, Marcatse's left 11 on. Jed Lowry has stranded 8 men on base. Jason Varitek, the man on deck, has also stranded 8 men on base in this series. Fisted foul to even the count.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that this potent Red Sox lineup would be shut down so effectively, but that's the nature of postseason baseball. You get good starting pitching and you shut down any hitting ball club, and that's what Tampa Bay has featured consistently in this championship series. Good starting pitching.
Lowry stays alive at 2-2. Red Sox Nation hoping that this Boston ball club can repeat history, come back again from a 3-1 series deficit. They did it last year, trailing the Cleveland Indians. But as we've said so many times in this series, guys, this is a drastically different Boston ball club. Manny Ramirez out of the playoffs. At the moment, still a Los Angeles Dodger. Mike Lowell hurt. David Ortiz not particularly productive. Josh Beckett not the same dominant number 1 starter at the top of rotation. fly ball hammered center field. Then Upton drifts back and catches with 2 easy steps. Hard hit ball, 2 out.
Well, Chip, you mentioned those points. Beckett was 4-0 with a 1.20 last year. This year he's got 11.5 ERA. Lowell hit .353 in the postseason last year. Ortiz batted .292. He's 1 for 15 in this series. 21 runs they scored in 4 games, only 15 so far. So all of these numbers work against the Red Sox, and maybe the biggest, they go to Tampa for 6 and 7, not home to Fenway for 6 and 7.
So here's another man the Red Sox hope can get hot tonight. Jason Varitek, 0 for 10 in the series, 0 for his last 11 in the playoffs. And he's behind. Strike 1 to Kazmir, whose pitch count mounting. He's up to 37, but a drastic improvement from his first start in this series.
He threw 37 in the first inning of the first game in this series. His first start. What did Joe Madden say? If he can keep it around 40 in the first 2 innings, he really feels that then he starts to get loose. He starts to feel confident in stuff, and that's when he can really take off.
That one behind Varitek, and it may have clipped him on the way by. It did.
Well, that's really surprising that he would miss that badly. And it looked like he was really starting to settle in, and all of a sudden you throw a pitch behind a right-handed hitter. Look at the target, and then look where this pitch is. And Varitek gets hit, and that ball was 4 feet from his target.
The pitch to Lowry, he was trying to come in. He left it over the middle. So this was almost like, I got to hold on to it a little longer to get it inside. He held on to it too long.
So the tying run potentially at the plate now as the wind's starting to die down at Fenway Park. I told you the first half hour or so of the game, it should be very breezy, but then calm down. 1 ball, no strikes.
This is where Mark Kotze really has kind of an advantage, because we have not seen Kazmir throw the slider at all. And a left-handed hitter that doesn't have to worry about a left-hander slider has a much better approach.
Line center field. Top of the order with 2 on and 2 out.
When you're thinking about 2 pitches and not 3, you've got a better chance even when it's a good pitch like this. Kotze knows that the fastball is going to be down if Kazmir makes a good pitch, and he's able to get on it even though it was in a pretty good spot.
And even though it's lefty-lefty, Kotze likes the ball down. That's where he'll get his best swings.
So can Coco Crisp come through with a hit and chase home Varitek with the first Boston run? And pitch in at the knees for a called strike.
Well, here now he doesn't have to hit like a leadoff hitter.
Wind gusting mightily again as Crisp, who walked his first time, readies himself. And that went low.
Well, the Red Sox have had to play catch-up throughout this entire championship series. They've not had the lead in the last 26 innings against Tampa Bay.
Foul right side. It's now 1-2. One of the reasons why Terry Francona's put Crisp in the leadoff spot, head-to-head, hitting over 300 against him, including the playoffs. Jacoby Ellsbury in an 0 for 20 slump. J.D. Drew has led off in the series, did not record a hit. Batting first. So Crisp gets a shot tonight in a game the Red Sox have to stay alive this postseason. Check swing. Did he go? No. 2-2.
Yeah, he held that back. Not even close for Coco Crisp. See those Red Sox hitters, Coco, with that big sigh. All feeling the weight of trying to come up with that big hit.
2 out hits, 2 strike hits were such a big part of Boston's success against the Angels. Now a 2-2 count. And a swing and a miss. That retires Crisp. Red Sox have left 4 men in the first 2 innings tonight. And B.J. Upton's coming up again in the 3rd inning at Fenway Park.
Now,
TBS presents a very funny festival with a very funny lineup. See Jerry Seinfeld, Dane Cook, Cheech and Chong, and many more live. The funniest names in comedy are at the Comedy Festival, November 20th through the 22nd in Las Vegas. Buy your tickets now at thecomedyfestival.com. 3rd inning at beautiful Fenway Park in Boston. Game 5 of this American League Championship Series. The Tampa Bay Rays, behind a B.J. Upton homer, lead 2-0. Iwamura worked the count full in that 1st inning and cracked a single through the hole on the right side for a clean single. That's over the outer corner. And the count to Iwamura, now 1-2.
Ball to strike ratio, not what you'd usually want, but probably good for Matsuzaka, who usually is about 50-50.
Yeah. Well, he still has that good fastball. He got that ball in on the hands of Iwamura, which is tough to do because Iwamura cheats to the fastball. He opens up that front side anticipating an inside fastball, and Matsuzaka's location was so good it handcuffed Iwamura.
Breaking ball, Katse diving stop. Daisuke handles a low throw. Beautiful, beautiful play by the Boston pitcher.
Well, no more questions about Mark Katse's ability to play first base. This is a double headed down to the right field corner. But he dives, the ball was past him, and he really gives Daisuke a tough ball to handle. That's a tough one for a guy that's running full speed to cover the bag because it's down around his ankles, but both players make good defensive plays here.
Well, nice play by Matsuzaka. Probably off the bat you feel like that's down the line, but you always have to make your way over there. And fine play by a great athlete. To be able to come in from center field, not to have that many starts and play the way he's played at first base, outstanding.
And a smart move by Jason Varitek, too. After that play, went to the mound, gave Daisuke a few more moments to catch his breath before he faces Upton, who took him out over the monster his first time up. And this one barely got over the wall for that Tampa Bay lead.
Well, it's that little cutter inside that he tries to catch the inside corner. Came back over the middle of the plate. And I think if they're going to come inside, they're going to have to pick a spot. They're going to have to throw one right at his hip. Get him off the plate a little bit. Too comfortable.
What a dramatic difference this postseason for Upton than the regular season. Against the Red Sox this year, B.J. Upton hit .128 with 1 home run and 2 RBIs. He's 6 for 17 in this series with 3 homers and 8 knocked in.
He's healthy. He's finally healthy over the woes of that shoulder problem.
And he strokes another hit to center field. He is something. 2 for 2 is Upton tonight.
Well, he stayed on that breaking ball very effectively. It stayed in the middle of the plate, but he was able to drop the head on it and just drive it into center field.
Well, you say to yourself, it's a pretty good breaking ball, but it doesn't matter. 0-2, the hitter will shorten up a little bit. And one of the things you do when you pitch inside, and you didn't pitch inside there, just a nice stroke by Upton, is that sometimes you get away with that mistake. He made a mistake 0-2. If you pitch inside, sometimes they foul that back or put that into play meekly instead of a line drive.
So Daisuke back to the stretch in the 3rd inning with Carlos Pena. Got to keep an eye on Upton. He can really fly. And he's going first move, and there's a drive belted down the right field line. That ball is gone. A 2-run homer for Pena. It's 4-2 4-0 Tampa Bay.
Matsuzaka has shown the Rays he's going to use his fastball, and Carlos Pena was geared up. First pitch fastball, and he hammers it around the pesky pole into the seats deep in right field. Stay fair, baby, stay fair, and it does.
So again, the Fenway Park crowd stunned. A pair of 2-run homers, one from Upton, one from Pena. Now Evan Longoria's up. There is no break in this Rays lineup in this postseason.
Well, the local product, Carlos Pena, grew up in Averill, Mass. Went to Northeastern University, finding the home cooking here at Fenway Park. We've been talking about Longoria, we've been talking about Upton. Forgotten in all this has been Carlos Pena.
Boy, what a perfect place to sit in the middle of the lineup between Upton and Longoria. One ball, 2 strikes to Evan Longoria.
Fastball about belt high out over the plate. Tremendous extension. Gets on that back leg and keeps it fair deep into the seats down the right field line.
The 2-2. Swing and a high fly ball deep left field. Track, wall, gone by Longoria. They went back-to-back, Pena and Longoria, in the first inning of Game 4. They go back-to-back in the third inning of Game 5 tonight.
Well, this is called the ALCS, but a home run derby has broken out. Tampa Bay has just not missed any pitches up in the strike zone, and this is with a 25-mile-an-hour wind blowing in.
Unbelievable now. They have hit 19 home runs in the postseason. They are swinging the bats with tremendous confidence. They're not missing anything. Daisuke gave up 12 home runs all season long, 3 in this game so far.
And now Carl Crawford swings and misses. He lined hard to center. The Boston bullpen has to get busy in a hurry. A very short leash, as you'd expect, for the Red Sox and Daisuke Matsuzaka tonight.
Well, you talk about young hitters making an adjustment. Second time through the order, they were geared up for fastballs, and they hammered them. 11 home runs in 15 innings in the last 4 games against the Boston starters.
And you get that kind of offensive support, it doesn't matter who you pitch or where you pitch it.
Well, especially against this starting staff. When we characterized the Red Sox starters, we talked about 3 aces, and they've trumped 3 aces.
So Crawford taps back to the mound. Here's Cliff Floyd. He rolled out to third. Josh Beckett, John Lester would get the ball Saturday and Sunday for games 6 and 7 in that order if the Red Sox can come back in this game tonight. But with a 5-run lead, Tampa Bay 38-0 this year.
Oh, this is a thumping. The last 4 games now. 36 runs for the Tampa Bay team, 13 for the Red Sox.
Here's Floyd with a 1-0 count. And a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Some of the scribes guys were saying these Tampa Bay hitters are too comfortable at the plate.
Well, I just, as a former pitcher, prehistoric times, watching when the guy is taking a swing like Longoria did, not the home run swing. That was on the hanging slider by Matsuzaka. Cliff Floyd with a swing there. The swing that Longoria took before that pitch, that was like a Ruthian swing, a slow pitch softball swing. When you start to see that as a starting pitcher, you have to, any pitcher, kind of raise your eyebrows and say, you know, they're in there with a pina colada relaxing, and that's not a good thing.
Well, how do you stop it?
You make sure they move their feet and you brush them back off the plate. It's not about hitting people.
Floyd couldn't stop himself. The inning over, the damage done. Carlos Pena, a 2-run homer into the seats to right. Evan Longoria again pests the Green Monster, and the Tampa Bay Rays are rolling along, leading 5-0.
What do you want as your...
This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Kia Motors, with Buck Martinez, Ron Darling, Craig Sager, Chip Carey back at Fenway Park, where the Rays lead the Red Sox by a 5-0 score. They've hit 3 home runs in their first 3 trips against Dice K tonight. If Tampa Bay wins tonight, they will be the new American League champions. And a ground ball hit right at Iwamura. One step to his right. One man down. We talked to Joe Madden after game 1 when Dice K pitched that 2-0 masterpiece, and so much was made, guys, about the look of shock or awe, if you want to call it that, on these young Rays faces. Joe Madden agreed with the assessment that it was the first time they really felt the enormity of the moment. They're not intimidated now, are they?
No, but he talked to everybody, including Evan Longoria, and he told his coaches, touch some players today. Let's find out how they're feeling.
David Ortiz, first pitch, rolls out. Fenway faithful booing Big Papi, who is 1 for 16 in the series.
But that's the essence of managing. Knowing your personnel, knowing when you need to slow them down, knowing when you need to tap them on the shoulder and say, you know what, this is not that big a deal, boys. Just back off a little bit, get back to your good approach. Again, Joe Madden, knowing Scott Kazmir. You know, we can assume that we know everything about his team, but he knows what Kazmir's all about. He's seen him now for 3 straight seasons.
No balls and a strike to Kevin Youkilis. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Joe Madden heavily criticized for making the switch to Kazmir instead of James Shields tonight. Before the game, he went up to Scott and said, listen, remember that game in Fenway last September? Kazmir said, I sure do. It was a 1-0 lead for the Tampa Bay Rays, 7th inning, 2 men on, pitch count high. Kazmir thought he was coming out of the game. Instead of Madden went up there and said, listen, this is a playoff situation. I want to see what you've got. It really fired up Kazmir. He got Jacoby Ellsbury to strike out, Alex Cora to ground out. He said, remember that, keep that in mind for when you make the playoffs someday.
And here they are, after 10 years of futility, a franchise that had a season win total high of 70, a 5-run lead in a potential series clinching game, and a 3-game sweep of this portion of the schedule at Fenway Park.
Joe Madden makes the tour around the outfield to talk to his pitchers, making sure he touches base with them. It's something Tony La Russa has always done with his players. He doesn't want to talk to the players in his office. He wants them most comfortable, and he talks to them out in their office, on the field.
Of course, all the time when you're a player, when you're called into the manager's office, 90% of the time it's not a good thing. And I played for Tony, and he used to call it sniffing around, just sniffing to see how the club is doing right now.
Both of you sound like you have plenty of experience on that being called to the principal's office or the manager's office thing. No,
not a good thing. But Joe Madden knows when he talks to his players out on the field, they're at ease. They're comfortable, so he can have relaxed conversations with them.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Youkilis lines one into right field. That'll drop in front of Gross, who cuts it off. And a 2-out single puts Youkilis aboard in front of Jason Bay in the 3rd inning. Still a lot of baseball left. Buck has mentioned many times, when you have an early lead at Fenway Park, it's a good feeling, but not a comfortable one, right?
Not at all, especially with a team as experienced as Terry Francona's Red Sox in this ballpark. And it's going to have to be the right-handed hitters early in this game to get the Red Sox back in the ballgame.
Bay came up with 2 on, 2 out in the first and popped out to Upton. And the changeup misses low for ball 1.
Invariably what happens to a team though when it's struggling, guys try to get that big huge hit instead of chipping away at this club, putting some pressure on these Rays.
Well, we haven't seen it at all during the championship series where the Red Sox back-to-back hits, where they get guys on base, where the Rays starters are working with 2 and 3 guys on base. It just hasn't happened.
Two balls and a strike.
Buck, you talked about it before. Ellsbury not hitting and being behind every game just negates your running game, and that was an important part of the Red Sox team concept of scoring all season long.
And this is a Boston club that after the trade of Manny Ramirez was not one, in Terry Francona's own words, that would sit back and rely on or wait for the 3-run homer. They'd hit and run, straight steal, manufacture offense. But as we've mentioned a couple of times already tonight, when your leadoff guy is retired and your first offense is coming with 2 outs, it really ties your hands. Bay stays alive. Another good cut from Jason Bay. Outfield straightaway for him. Crawford in a couple of steps in left. Upton plays a very shallow center field. And Gabe Gross, normal depth straightaway in right field.
Joe Madden constantly working over that lineup card just in case things start to heat up for the Red Sox, but Kazmir is not going to allow that.
Youkilis, a 2-out hit, is left stranded. Red Sox have left 5 through 3 tonight. 4th inning and a big lead for the Tampa Bay Rays as it's time to take a look at our Nikon D60 player profile. Deanna Navarro is the subject of tonight's Nikon profile.
Well, Navarro always said that when he was signed by the Yankees, if you had told him he was going to be in the playoffs and be an all-star with the Tampa Bay, he thought you were going to be crazy.
Always a high-profile prospect. He was signed in 2000 by the Yankees. A switch-hitting catcher, made the All-Star team this year. 3rd best in the majors in runners caught stealing at 38%, and the 2nd highest batting average among American League catchers at .295.
And he launches one toward left. That'll chase Bay back to the edge of the warning track. Navarro is the first out in the 4th inning. And Buck, like so many of these young Tampa Bay Rays, it was the maturation of Deanna Navarro that has played such a big role in this dramatic Rays turnaround this year.
Yeah, it sure was. Last year at the end of the season in Toronto, when Joe Madden had his exit meeting with Deanna Navarro, he told him, you better come into shape next year. This is going to be your job, but I'm not going to hand it to you. You've got to earn it. Got himself in great shape and has taken over this pitching staff.
He's 0 for 2 tonight as Gabe Gross has a healthy cut and is down a quick strike.
He was a catcher that was drafted that had to learn how to catch, because catching professionally and catching a major league pitching staff is about one of the most difficult things to learn for any young catcher.
It's the most difficult position in baseball to coach.
Hard hit ball, line to Pedroia. There's your 2nd out. Not surprisingly, Buck, such an emphasis placed by Joe Madden on that position, knowing the organization from which he came, the Angels, and his relationship with Mike Scioscia, a relationship we talked about in round 1 against the Red Sox.
Yeah, and Joe Madden himself was a catcher, and certainly Mike Scioscia really emphasizes the value of a catcher on a championship team. Bobby Ramos, the bullpen coach for the Rays, is an excellent catching instructor as well, and it's really been a tutoring job by all of these guys involved, including the pitching coach, trying to teach him how to call a game and how to be a leader behind the plate. It's not an easy process, but he's done a heck of a job of turning his career around.
Bartlett line to left his first time up. He's up with 2 outs. Base is empty. Rays have a 5-run 4th inning lead. And from Crawford on down, Dice K's had no trouble at all. But boy, the first 4 hitters in this Tampa Bay lineup have worn him out. Still a very good fastball from Matsuzaka. 1-2.
Well, we talk about Joe Maddon so much, but you really got to compliment his coaches as well. Jim Hickey's done a heck of a job with the pitching staff, and Steve Henderson, the hitting coach, has given these hitters a tremendous game plan. The game plan tonight was don't try to get into Matsuzaka's head. Just get a good pitch to hit and square up on it. And Steve Henderson's done a heck of a job of putting his hitters in a good frame of mind.
They lost the first game 2-0. They're up big tonight as Kotze in front of the Boston dugout makes the play, and 3 up, 3 are down. J.D. Drew starts off the 4th for the Red Sox. They are down by a 5-0 score in Game 5 of this American League Championship Series. This amazing journey for the Tampa Bay club. Continues behind Scott Kazmir, who looks so forward to getting an opportunity, as he said, to get back out on the mound and try to redeem himself from his last outing. And if he can complete this journey tonight, he will do something that's never happened to the Red Sox before. As Drew walks, the Red Sox have never lost 3 consecutive postseason games at Fenway Park within 1 series. And after the series split down at Tropicana Field, you figured Boston would come back and win 1 and maybe force it back for the weekend. Still could happen, but boy, is it going to be an uphill climb tonight.
But their inability to put string hits together, the way they will come back is if you have a starting pitcher for Tampa Bay and Kazmir who allows walks and puts runners on base, then you can run into maybe Ortiz jumps a fastball.
Well, a walk to Drew starts things off with Lowry up. Big hole right side as Kazmir misses for ball 1.
Well, the thing you can't think about is getting all 5 runs back in 1 inning. You've got to mount a consistent attack, one that's going to last you 3, 4, 5 innings, where you just string things together against Kazmir.
His fastball really popping tonight. 1-1 the count.
And another thing that really compounds the situation for the Red Sox is the good defense of Tampa Bay. They've got guys that can run balls in the gap down.
You hit it in the air against this Rays outfield. It's an out. And we've seen Bartlett at short, Longoria at third, Iwamura at second. Catch just about everything hit their way. So there are not many defensive holes for this Tampa Bay club either. Ball. There's Longoria. He's going to try to make the play at second, and he does. What a throw from Longoria, right on the money to force J.D. Drew at second.
Longoria has an unbelievable knack for throwing strikes to Iwamura no matter where he is on the field. Look at where he is in foul territory. Look at where that ball is. Right on the money to Iwamura. Tremendous ability to throw from any position on the field, and this guy doesn't have to take a back seat to any third baseman. Look at that throw. All he can get is the force out, but he gets the lead runner and keeps the double play in order.
No place to hit the ball against the Rays in this series. Here's Varitek, hit by a pitch with 2 outs in the second inning. 1 on, 1 out. 5-0 Tampa Bay.
Ronnie, what's that do to a pitcher when you see that kind of defense behind you?
You know, it just makes you so confident that any time in the count you can go and throw a strike, let the hitter put the ball in play, and one of your guys is going to make a play. He went to the line. He had to avoid the third base bag, and in all of that, threw the strike, like you said.
We have both seen teams where you try to pitch around holes in your defense, and when you do that, it becomes a real challenge.
Well, probably the pitcher in their staff that uses the defense the best is Sonnenstein. You know, he doesn't have the pure stuff of Kazmir or Shields or even Matt Garza.
Varitek fooled, takes a strike.
Kazmir, of course, who when he is at his best is as good a strikeout pitcher as there is in baseball. Shields gets strikeouts also. Matt Garza is going to get them as he moves along in his career. Here's Matt.
And back foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If this score stays the same, the question that will bear asking tonight is the fate of Jason Varitek. Could this be the last time we see him in a Red Sox uniform?
You know, he was asked that by many of the scribes, and he would not hear about it at all. Said that has nothing to do with what we're trying to do today, and that is try to come back in this series. Always the consummate pro, Jason Varitek.
And he works the count back even. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He certainly hasn't had the kind of offensive year he would like, but boy, what a asset he is behind the plate. Keeps himself in great shape. He's the leader with that C on his jersey, and everybody looks to him, and they kind of watch him around the clubhouse just to see how he's reacting in tough situations.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Red Sox need base runners, then need somebody to gap one or pop one over the fence. And they want to believe at Fenway Park. Two out. And that has been the great equalizer in this series. Every time the Red Sox even begin to mount a rally, they're silenced by a Rays pitcher.
We told you at the start of this series you might not be familiar with the starters' names at the beginning of it, but by the end you're going to know Kazmir, Garza, Shields, Sonnenstein. They're legitimate starters.
That's not even talking about Edwin Jackson they put in the pen. He had 14 wins this summer.
And Garza's saying, look how Kaz quieted the crowd.
That one gets through Navarro. And Lowry moves up 90 feet, and he's in scoring position for Kotsay now with a 1 ball, no strike count.
Well, first pitch here by slider by Scott Kazmir. That's the first time we've really seen Navarro not get all the way down, block that pitch usually with his chest guard. That one just lazy wouldn't be the word, but you know, just wasn't prepared to make that play.
Scott Kazmir, who turned out to be a prophet for the Rays. A February 16th newspaper article was asked what was possible for this Rays team. He said playing ball in October is what's possible. And he has a great chance to keep them pitching deep into October if he can win tonight at Fenway Park.
You know, he's so young, you tend to forget that he's been around a long time with this Tampa Bay club. He's one of those guys they look to say those kind of things, to take the pressure off some of the other players. And, you know, they had to start believing early.
Well, he's the youngest starter in their staff, and he holds all the starters' franchise records in wins and innings pitched. And you can see he's just 24 years old. He's already got 4+ years of experience. And now they've surrounded him with a host of good players.
outside corner. Kotze didn't think so. It's 2-2. Five men left on base for Boston in the first 3 innings of tonight's game. And a swing and a miss. Kotze is the 5th strikeout victim for Scott Kazmir. We head to the 5th.
The American League Championship Series on TBS is brought to you by MLB Banking from Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity, and by Captain Morgan Original Spiced Rum. Drink responsibly. Captain's orders.
Top of the order for Tampa Bay. It's the 5th inning. And things getting very serious now for the Rays and the Red Sox. Iwamura, Upton, Pena coming up. And the first 4 hitters have been devastating, especially with the long ball. 10 home runs in 95 at-bats for the Rays in this ballpark in this series.
The most they've ever hit in Fenway Park in a regular season was 11, and they have hit 10 in 3 games here. Pretty remarkable run.
And that 11 home run total came in the 1999 season for Tampa Bay. Daisuke trying to gobble up innings and stop the bleeding at 5 runs. He gave up 2 in the first, 3 in the 3rd inning on back-to-back home runs from Pena and Longoria. Dangerous count, 3 balls and a strike. Another very healthy cut.
Now, Iwamura is a guy they signed without seeing him in person in Japan. They didn't have the money to go over and scout in Japan. They looked at a lot of video, and then they saw him for the first time in person during the World Baseball Classic in 2006. At that time, he was playing 3rd base for Japan.
And he coaxes a leadoff walk. Iwamura on for the 2nd time in the game. And here is the potent attack for Tampa Bay.
36 runs, all the power. Just seems so comfortable in that box. Longoria, unbelievable. He can be on his front foot and still deliver it over the Green Monster.
So Daisuke Matsuzaka has apparently thrown his last pitch of this game 5. Terry Francona will go to his bullpen with Upton up and another man aboard, and the Rays keeping the Fenway faithful awfully quiet tonight. Our aerial coverage provided to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. Beautiful shots of Fenway Park in Boston, directed by Lonnie Dale and our crew tonight. And here's how it all began for the Rays. 63 wins in their first season. It took them a long time, boys, to crack 90 wins.
Well, it really had to be a downer in that 5th year when you're trying to progress your team, dropped all the way down to 55.
Well, Joe Madden came over here in 2006. It was his first season, and he kind of related the situation as one where you could build, and he certainly has done that, and he's done it in very quick order as he got rid of some guys that didn't fit into what he was trying to accomplish, and he put together a sound fundamental approach, and now he's got his team on the verge of going to the World Series.
And it took him a while to hit on the right combination of players. Certainly the same could be said for managers. Larry Rothschild managed there, Hal McRae managed there, even native son Lou Piniella tried to turn the fortunes of the Rays around, but it didn't start until Joe Madden got there, and all of these very high draft picks all hit at the same time.
Well, I think the key he did is not this season. It's the 2 prior seasons where he stayed positive with these young players despite their struggles. And I think you're seeing the benefits of that patience. It's really hard to be patient when, you know, you are getting beat every single night, but somehow he did, and that's why you're seeing some of this great gift of these young players coming to fruition right now.
Hideki Okajima follows Daisuke for the Red Sox with a man on. And Upton looks at a strike over the outside corner.
Well, naturally, when you're finishing the bottom of the league every year, you're going to get top picks. You're going to pick a lot of #1 draft picks overall, but then you've got to develop them. And they have done a marvelous job of doing that.
And in irony of ironies, with the Phillies already the champions of the National League, who's in the audience tonight but the man that was one of the early architects of this Tampa Bay ball club, Chuck Lamar, who was their first general manager.
Yeah,
Here's scouting for the Phillies.
That's Chuck right there in the middle. On his right is Charlie Kerfeld, former pitcher, who is also a scout for the Phillies, and that's Gord Lakey, who is on the left, and he is a longtime scout and a former Toronto Blue Jays assistant to Pat Gillick. And the roots are pretty dynamic. But when you think of Chuck Lamar and what he has done, he drafted Rocco Baldelli and Carl Crawford, made the trade for Scott Kazmir, and they all understand how you build a ball club, and you build it with pitching and defense, and that's what they've done here. But he also went out, Lamar did, and got great athletes. And you look at them all around the field, they're everywhere on this Rays team, and he was the guy that laid the foundation.
And that really has to be, I think, the scary thing about this Tampa Bay club. No, they don't have the revenue streams that the Yankees and the Red Sox do. There are a lot of very good young players they've already locked up on this team. And some of these kids are just learning how to play at this level and playing very well already.
Longoria got a 6-year contract 6 days after he got to the big league, so he's locked up beyond his free agency. They've got Pena locked up, they've got Shields locked up, they've got Kazmir locked up, and the next guy they're going to lock up is their catcher, not Javi Deano Navarro, behind the plate.
Well, not much of a scouting report for Philadelphia. Just said these guys are really good. You don't have to say too much more than that.
And if the Phillies are worried about maybe a couple of days off cooling them down, one day certainly hasn't.
Yeah.
And Terry Francona and the Red Sox nation is just amazed at what Tampa Bay's been able to do, and they finally get out Upton with a fastball up in the zone. 1 out.
Well, here's Chuck Lamar. He was the first general manager in the Rays history, 95 to 05. He drafted 6 players on his current roster, traded for Scott Kazmir, and he's currently the Phillies director of professional scouting. And in that role tonight, you can bet he and Charlie Kerfeld and Gord Lakey are trying to come up with some kind of approach that might be effective.
Shift on, Pena bunts. Euclid can only put it in his pocket. And this time Iwamura and the Rays don't overrun second base, which is something we saw earlier in this series. And there's a great case of the Rays taking what the defensive Boston gives them.
Well, we've seen this before off the left-handed Okajima with the defense playing where Euclid is at the shortstop position. You see Pena take what they give him, a little push bunt to the left side. It's the second time he's tried it. First time it's kind of worked.
Well, the one thing about this, it just reflects how these players have bought into the team concept of play. You see an opening there. Now you have runners at first and second for Evan Longoria to hit against the left-handed pitcher.
So first and second now, and Longoria. Look at those numbers. 4 homers. He's driven in 7. You mentioned Longoria getting that big contract very early in his major league tenure. There were a lot of fans in Tampa Bay and around the country that were wondering why he didn't make their club out of spring training.
Well, they were not really sure what they wanted him to do, and all people were talking about, well, it's the arbitration, but obviously they weren't concerned about that because they had that contract in their mind. They were close to signing him to that contract while he was in the minor leagues. But this just goes to show you the value of scouting when you know the character of the young people you draft and you can commit to them for the long term.
Low balls and a strike. And Varitek smothers that. 1 ball and 1 strike to Longoria.
Guys, it's great incentive, right? Here, we have a contract, 6-year contract for you. We'd love you to take it. Oh, you don't want to take it? Okay, why don't you go to the minor leagues? No, I'll take it. I'll take it. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
But if he keeps playing the way he's playing right now, he'll be the most underpaid player in the history of the game.
1 ball, 1 strike. And a swing. And a miss. 1 and 2. Another bellwether stat. We've given you many of them. Our great stat man, Hal Galima, has done such great work for us all summer long and into this playoff series. When he drives in a run, the Rays are 41 wins, 12 losses this season. And he's already homered and driven in a run tonight. So should the Rays finish off this series, Longoria is certainly a man that will command an awful lot of attention from the Phillies pitching staff. As time was granted, no pitch as Longoria steps out. There's still time for Upton and Longoria to catch Barry Bonds and Rich Aurelia of the Giants. Did not swing. It's even now.
Well, one thing you have to remember, too, is the fact that Longoria missed 30 days with a broken wrist. And he's been able to pick up his stroke so quickly against the best talent that the American League can feature here in the championship series. Pretty remarkable that a player that just turned 23 on October 7th can hit with so much confidence in the cleanup spot.
Runner at second moves to third. Veritek's throw is way late. Ball dropped. And the Rays just keep on applying the vice grips. A steal by Iwamura. First and third with 1 out.
Well, you can see Okajima did not pay any attention. Neither did the infielders for the Red Sox. And they have been known one of the best teams tied for first in the major leagues of stealing of third base, 28 during the regular season. Anytime you give them an inch, they'll take it.
And Iwamura actually came off the bag there, but the ball was dropped by Kevin Youkilis. And a 3-2 count. Let's see if Pena runs at first. He draws a throw instead.
Pena had a steal in the first game here in game 3. So they'll all run.
Not this time from first, as Longoria didn't get a changeup. Okajima's second strikeout. First and third now 2 away.
Well, nice job by Okajima. He has kept his secondary pitches down, as opposed to some of the pitches by the Red Sox pitchers have been up in the strike zone. Down and away, to me, is the way you have to go after Longoria. So strong in the middle in of the plate.
Carl Crawford is 0 for 2 after a 5 for 5 game in game 4. And he looks at a ball inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Now here's another guy too that didn't have an at bat in September, and he's come on so strong here in the postseason. Bases empty, 286 during the postseason, 462 with men on, and 545 with runners in scoring position. Tremendous concentration.
Inside corner, he evens the count. Crawford, a tremendous athlete, recruited to play basketball at UCLA, recruited to play quarterback at Nebraska. Longest tenured Ray. This October may be more special to him than anybody else in uniform. And a ball low, a 2-1 count.
And there's plenty of game left, but I think this is a backbreaker. If Okajima cannot retire Crawford, he's able to get a hit in this clutch situation. As the Red Sox continue to just fight, keep these Rays off the board.
Top of the order is coming up for Boston in the bottom half of this inning. So you're right, Ron. Get out here, you still have a shot. Ground ball right side. Pedroia, good play. Okajima does indeed put out the fire and strands only the second and third men for the Rays in a 5-0 fifth inning, game 5. Well, the top of the order's coming up for the Red Sox. Crisp, Pedroia, and David Ortiz against Scott Kazmir, who's fired a 2-hitter at Boston at Fenway Park. Some in the media thought a controversial move by Joe Madden to skip over big game James Shields for Scott Kazmir. Well, Kazmir is putting up zeros, and he pumps over a quick strike to Coco Crisp.
And that just gets back to the manager knowing exactly what Scott Kazmir is all about. Gives him one opportunity to pitch well in this ballpark where he's had success in the past.
High fly ball left center that will blow back to B.J. Upton. He's got it. And there's your first out. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Phillies. They're the champions of the National League. So you can catch all the action of the 2008 World Series starting October 22nd on Fox. There's only one October. We'll wish our colleagues Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and the crew at Fox all the best in what should be a whale of a World Series with the Phillies and their enthusiastic fan base, and potentially these Tampa Bay Rays as well. And boy, a tip of the cap to Charlie Manuel, who managed his heart out, and a very heavy heart after he lost his mom last week. Iwamura takes care of Pedroia. 2 quick outs, 5th inning.
Well, Joe Madden, as you said, Chip, made a controversial move, and you can see Grant Balfour is up down in the bullpen. But when we looked at it, we thought, well, Joe was bringing into play the 3 right-handers, the only 3 guys in the Red Sox lineup that were hitting. But Scott Kazmir has shut them down effectively. And they hit him hard in game 2, but given a second chance, he's made some very good adjustments and shut down the Red Sox effectively.
Ronnie, you saw the Phillies a lot in your coverage with the Mets on SNY. Evaluate the Phillies after a season of disappointment for them in the playoffs last year. What do you think about their chances in 08?
Well, I think their chances are great. They won that series without getting a lot of huge contribution from Ryan Howard, who drove in over 140 this year. I think the big difference for them is that Ryan Madsen was great down the stretch and in the postseason. And Brad Lidge, when they had a lead after 8 innings, the Phillies were 86-0. So they knew how to take care of business late in the ballgame.
2-0 count. And Ortiz into the teeth of that shift. Iwamura playing in short right field. Big Poppy, 1 for 17 in this American League Championship Series. And the Rays need only 12 outs for an American League Championship. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Kia Motors with our coordinating producer, Glenn Diamond. We welcome you back to Fenway Park, where the Red Sox are in deep trouble, trailing 5-0 in game 5, and Willie Ibar, the hitter, in this 6th inning. Ibar had a huge game 4. He had 4 hits and 5 at-bats and drove in 5 runs. And we've talked so much, guys, about the astute drafting and developing the Rays have accomplished. How about some of the trades they've made under radar that have helped them dramatically this year?
Picking up guys like Willie Ibar, and certainly Ibar earned his cape filling in for Evan Longoria when Longoria broke his wrist. Eric Hinsky hit 20 home runs, and he is not on the postseason roster at this time, but he was an integral part of their success early in the year. Gabe Gross was picked up kind of to add some depth in the organization. He's become the everyday right fielder. All of these role players playing a big role here.
And for a full month, guys, many in baseball thought this Tampa Bay club was going to be passed and knocked out of postseason consideration when Longoria and Crawford went out with injury. From August 10th to September 12th, they were 17-11, 6 games over 500 without those 2 stars in their lineup. Remarkable accomplishments by the role players of the Rays.
Well, when you emphasize the team doesn't panic when a star gets hurt. Ibar last night against Tim Wakefield goes deep. He had 5 RBIs, as Chip mentioned. But when you're always emphasizing the team doesn't panic when you lose Crawford and Longoria.
All championship teams concentrate on who is playing, not who could be playing.
Three balls, 2 strikes to Willie Ibar. 6 for 12. And a pop-up right side. Mark Kotze has room. And Ibar's retired for out number 1. So many franchise firsts for the Rays in this series. Never had 10 home runs in a 3-game span until they got things going against the Red Sox in this ALCS. They'd never won consecutive road games by 8 or more runs. That's been taken care of. They've won 4 games in a row in this ballpark. Last time they did that was 1999, their 2nd year of existence. Pop by Navarro into shallow left. Jason Bay is under it. And there are 2 men out in the 6th inning. If we get to a Saturday and Sunday, Beckett and Lester in Game 6 and then Game 7 for Boston. Shields and Garza for the Rays. If we don't get to Game 6 and 7, it'll be the Phillies and Tampa Bay in the 2008 World Series.
That series would start in Tampa Bay.
So Philly fans, if you're thinking of making your way to your spring training home, be ready for the cowbells. But the Red Sox still have something to say about that tonight.
Well, spring training home of the Phillies, of course, in Clearwater, a close proximity to Tampa Bay's home in St. Petersburg.
No balls and a strike to Gabe Gross, and that's fouled off Veritek's glove. 0-2. Okajima's 2nd inning of work tonight. And just missed low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gross, a great athlete too, played at Auburn University. He was the quarterback on the football team. And another trade acquisition came over from Milwaukee. Hit ground ball to Pedroia at 2nd. 3 up and 3 down. Bottom of the 6th. Can Boston muster a comeback?
Than anywhere else. For 50 years, it's been brewed fresh to keep you running at your best. No matter what uphill battle you're facing, America runs on Dunkin'. Get an egg and cheese and an English muffin for 99 cents when you buy a medium or larger hot coffee.
Can you believe we still call these phones, considering all they can do? Truth is, technology's only great when you know how to use it. I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint. First, we revolutionized wireless plans. Now we want to help you get the most from these amazing devices. So come by a Sprint store for a personalized setup. You'll walk out an expert.
Introducing Turbo HD by Dish Network, the only 100% HD service. Call now and get a free HD DVR receiver upgrade and HBO and Stars free for 3 months. Turbo HD by Dish Network.
Why let heartburn stop you when you can stop heartburn? Just one Zantac with a cool mint sensation can knock it out all day or all night for strong, lasting relief. Heartburn? Attack it. Zantac.
I've made lots of faces, but none of them have ever stuck. And if my mom was lying about that, then maybe I can go swimming after eating all that cheese.
When you don't have to think about your hair, your mind is free to wander. Advanced Head & Shoulders. Respect the scalp. Get the hair.
The American League Championship Series on TBS is brought to you by John Hancock. The future is yours. And by Sprint, the Simply Everything plan, only on the Now Network.
Middle of the Boston order in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kevin Youkilis starts things off. Buck and Ron on a night when Boston really needed their right-hand hitters to get something, anything done against Scott Kazmir. Youkilis, the only right-hand hitter with a hit tonight.
Well, we mentioned the trio of Pedroia, Youkilis, and Jason Bay hitting .416 at the start of this game. And those 3 hitters absolutely wore out Scott Kazmir in game 2. They were 5 for 8 with 3 home runs and scored 5 and drove in 5. And they were the whole offense that knocked Kazmir out of that game early. But tonight, Kazmir's had the upper hand from the first pitch.
He had 2 men on in that first inning of play with 2 outs. Jason Bay popped out. And as he said, he wanted a chance to redeem his game 2 start tonight. I'd say he's doing that a whole lot more in what could be the series clincher for Jim Hickey and his Tampa Bay Ray pitching staff.
Forget this young man started the season on the disabled list with a bad elbow. Didn't start till May. Doesn't have his slider right now because of that aching of the elbow.
Well, we felt that there was one constant that would help the Rays pitch and win in this series, and that was the starters pitching into the 7th. And they have done that.
And that's made a very potent bullpen even better in this postseason. Their bullpen in these playoffs for the Rays, a 1.46 earned run average.
Because you're not exposing a lot of arms down there. The starters pitch you late into the game. Not that they don't have good arms, but you're just pitching the best.
Youkilis, a good battle in this 6th inning. A 5-strikeout night for Scott Kazmir.
Well, what's been great about it is his ability to throw that fastball and throw it by these Red Sox hitters. He's had a couple of backdoor sliders, and as he's gone along, that pitch has gotten better and better, telling me that he probably feels as loose as he's felt the last 2 months.
And that could be a very huge weapon in the World Series against all those left-hand hitters for the Phillies. Think about Utley and Howard. As Youkilis works the count full, 3-2. Rays need 12 more outs to seal the deal. Six strikeouts and 1 away in the 6th inning.
Every time the Red Sox are in a position in their order to get something going, the Rays starting pitchers shut them down.
And you know he's feeling good when on 3-2 with a 5-run lead, he can still go back to that slider, which confuses Youkilis.
So 6 strikeouts for Kazmir, 2 hits. Boston being shut out at home in the playoffs tonight. Jason Bay 0 for 2. And the outside corner good to even the count. Boston entering this game tonight was 7-1 in elimination games with Terry Francona. Nothing quite like every year winning the last game you play.
Good changeup, Pat Bay way out in front. Boy, he has done a great job. His fastball has been there for him all night long, and as the game has progressed, the sliders come around.
That one went off the plate. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, in his pregame chat with the national media, Kazmir thought it was very important to see how everything felt in the first inning. If he can get out of that, he can start out well, pitch efficient baseball. He's certainly been able to do that.
Well, he sure has. He got into the flow of the game early, and these starters for Tampa Bay have really stifled the Red Sox. Boston, as we speak, 1 for 27 with 2 strikes during the ALCS. 1 for 28.
And 7 strikeouts for Kazmir. And you can see the excitement building on one bench and the reality settling in on another.
This Fenway Park that in recent years has seen so much pomp and circumstance has an air of being funereal as the Red Sox see outs fritter away.
And now he's just in and out, up and down in all quadrants of the strike zone and ahead of virtually every Boston hitter. The latest, J.D. Drew, who's 0 for 1 with a walk tonight. Drew almost single-handedly kept the Red Sox alive in the Eastern Division race with a monster month of June when Big Papi was hurt. Then Drew himself missed a lot of time late in the season with a very bad back. And in fact, his return was very much in doubt at the start of these playoffs, but he rallied and managed 4 hits in the division series against the Angels, including a home run and 3 runs batted in. But in this series, just 2 for 14 at the plate.
Just you think about the injuries and the people that weren't available to Boston, and it's just been a tough go without Mike Lowell. Julio Lugo was the everyday shortstop. He's been out half the season.
Broken bat, fly ball. Look at Upton gallop over and make the play. 3 up, 3 down. 9 more outs to get for the Rays in Game 5.
Look at this. I'm a free man. I go anywhere I want now and trade. E-Trade Mobile Pro. Right on my BlackBerry. Wait, hang on. Get an email. Oh, I'm a bad girl. Man. Anyway, you know, I get streaming quotes on it. God, relentless. Hang on a sec. Hey, girl, can I hit you back?
New E-Trade Mobile Pro. Trade stocks, get streaming quotes anytime, anywhere. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
For the price of lunch in a bag, how about a real lunch instead? With people and silverware and lots of choice. Applebee's Pick and Pair lunch combos, starting at just $5.99. Over 75 combinations of soups, salads, sandwiches, and pasta. From grilled shrimp and spinach salad to 3-cheese chicken penne. Try finding lunch like that at a drive-thru. Applebee's Pick and Pair lunch combos starting at $5.99. It's the best meal and the best deal in the neighborhood.
Connect to everything you love in life with BlackBerry.
So I'm now not worried about CEOs. I'm not worried about corporate lobbyists. I'm worried about the couple that's trying to figure out how they're going to retire. I'm worried about the family that's trying to figure out how they can save for their child's college education. I'm worried about the guy who's worked in a plant for 20 years and suddenly sees his job shipped overseas and has lost not just his job, but his health care, his pension, and the sense of dignity that comes with having a good job. That's who I'm worried about. And that's who I'm going to be fighting for and thinking about every single day that I'm in the White House. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
An important lesson I learned is to never give up.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America teach kids the importance of never giving up.
Home run, Big Papi strikes again!
Big kid, big effort, big smile. I guess that's why they call me Big Papi.
Major League Baseball is a proud sponsor of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Together, they create a positive place for kids.
It's 5-0. We head to inning number 7. Tampa Bay with a 2-run homer in the first, back-to-back homers in the third, has a big lead with Manny Del Carmen on. And let's take a look, gentlemen, at our Zantac relief pitching profile.
Well, Manny Del Carmen, the local product, of course, lives in East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Manny struggled in his last outing 2 days ago, but appeared in 73 games this year for the Red Sox. Very valuable part of that bullpen.
And one of the more valuable players of this Tampa Bay club is Jason Bartlett. One of the big reasons why they allowed 273 fewer runs this year than last season, when he plugged a huge hole for them at shortstop. Think about that. Over a run and a half a game.
That's the third biggest turnaround in the history of baseball, to knock off that many runs from one year to the next. And there were several things that really helped in that reduction. Defense was one of them.
Sometimes that's what organizations sometimes lack. They get this good young pitching, they want to get all these hitters. No, get your defense to back these young pitchers. They don't lose their confidence. The 91 Braves had those young pitchers. Blauser did a nice job at shortstop. Pendleton they brought over, he did a nice job at third base.
2 balls and a strike. Off speed pitch is cut on and missed. 2-2.
And if you have a young pitching staff, you better have a good catcher to help guide them through the rough spots. And certainly Deoner Navarro has grown with his young pitching staff.
Braves also had Rafael Belliard. They had Sid Bream at first. Veteran guys with all those young players. And so the other question for fans who haven't followed the Rays all year long, is this organization, is this club capable of going on, if not a 14-year run like the Braves, a run of 4, 5, 6 years where they can be not only competitive but championship caliber Major League Baseball team?
In this division, it's a real challenge, but they have the personnel to be very competitive. Joe Madden knows that he has 5 starters that are 26 or younger and a superstar starter in waiting in David Price.
2 balls, 2 strikes. In fact, it was David Price who picked up the win in Game 2 of this American League Championship Series. That was the 11-inning game that Terry Francona himself said was a heartbreaking, back-breaking loss for his Boston club. They wanted, obviously, to go up 2-0 down at Tropicana Field and didn't.
And David Price didn't get into professional baseball until August last year. Signed out of Vanderbilt, #1 overall pick, and just rocketed through the minor leagues. 6'6" left-hander to throw 97 miles an hour.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bartlett. And that's low and outside to fill up the count at 3-2. Really hearing that glove of Jason Varitek popping tonight. Our senior audio engineer, Jim Budka, David Poole, our audio assistant. Great work all summer long, and in these playoffs, they've had to crank up the mics at Fenway Park. It's very quiet here at Game 5. And again, fouled away. leadoff walk in the 7th inning. It's taken the Rays a long time to put together a winning season. But you know about the Tampa Bay Bucks, the creamsicle uniforms from 1976. Worst record to a Super Bowl. The Tampa Bay Lightning, worst record 97-98, won the Stanley Cup in 2003 and 2004. In 4 years, the then Devil Rays had the worst record in baseball. This year, 97 wins in regular season. And where will Joe Madden knock on destiny's door at October's end? A strike to Iwamura, who singled, scored, walked, and stolen a base tonight.
And Tampa will host the Super Bowl 2009. We're on the verge of hosting the 2008 World Series in the Tampa Bay area, certainly becoming a sports focal point.
No balls and a strike. Throw over to first.
St. Petersburg, where Tropicana Field is, certainly getting excited about their hometown team.
No balls and a strike. So the winner of this series awaits a date with the Philadelphia Phillies, who are scouting this series very completely, as we check in with Craig Sager.
Well, Chuck, first of all, congratulations on your Phillies advancing the World Series, and also congratulations on Tampa Bay, a team you helped put together with a great success they've had. You know them so well. Why do you need to do scouting report?
Well, because they're an awfully good ball club, Craig. You know, this game's not over with. Anything can happen in Fenway Park, but if it continues like this, Andrew Friedman, the GM of the Rays, Joe Madden, the whole group of Rays that have finished the job and put this club together, they've done a phenomenal job, and they deserve all the kudos and the congratulations. It's a team that is playing very well at this time, as you know, but we got a club up in Philadelphia that is a good, solid club. They believe in themselves, and it's got a chance, if it stays like this, it's got a chance to be a heck of a series.
With the new ownership in 05, you were forced to move on. You went to Washington. Now you're with Philadelphia. How much pride do you have in the fact that you helped put this team together?
Tremendous amount of pride. You know, people forget it was 10 years. We had a low payroll, as everybody knows. We were in the toughest division in baseball. I probably take as much pride, though, on the staff members, the coaches that are still here, the people in the front office are still here, and the players obviously on the field. It wasn't me, Craig. We had a great organization, and they Andrew and those people were continue to keep those people in the organization. So it's you know, when you're the general manager, you're blessed to have that position, but there's a tremendous amount of people, scouts, player development, as you know, to go into that, and they're reaping the benefits. They've done a heck of a job, but there's a lot of people for those first 10 years that did a heck of a job as well.
You're being very modest here, but you're the one that orchestrated the Scott Kazmir trade from the New York Mets. A lot of people question Joe Madden having him start tonight. What's your scouting report on Kazmir tonight?
Well, he's real good. He has been good, and he's always been a great competitor. We were fortunate enough to make a trade that turned out very well with us, and Scott actually has pitched better tonight, in our opinion, than he has over the last 2 or 3 starts, and he's truly one of the premier left-handers in the game.
Well, we talk so much about this great lineup. Evan Longoria, when he drives in a run, the team is something like 42-12. Is he the guy that you look at in the lineup saying we got to keep him off base?
No, sir. He's a tremendous young player, but this is a very balanced team. Their defensive ability is superior. Might be the best defensive team in baseball. They run the bases, they steal bases, combination of foot speed and power. They beat you in so many different ways, and they're just a young, athletic, energetic club that you know, we got our hands full if it ends up the way it is now.
This team lost over 100 games just 2 years ago. At one point, did you say, hey, this team has a chance to go to the postseason, a team that we have to obviously reckon with?
Well, I thought in spring training they would have the best year that they would ever have. I thought they could possibly challenge to play 500 baseball this year, but to say that we, or probably even them, Craig, thought that they were going to have this kind of success this quick, I don't think anybody would say that. But it's a credit again to Andrew and Joe Madden and the players in the field. They believed in it. They bought into what they were doing, and it's amazing what momentum will do when you have talented players, and I think that truly is what's happened.
You're groomed under John Schuerholz, the great general manager with the Atlanta Braves. Once they made the playoffs in '91, they were there forever. Is that the same way this team is built and what you try to do with Tampa Bay?
Yes, sir. John, again, I've been very fortunate to work 5 years with Mr. Sherholtz in Atlanta and now with Pat Gillick, two truly Hall of Fame general managers, and they both believe in athleticism. They both believe in arm strength. They both believe in makeup on a championship club, and I think Tampa Bay is showing that now.
Well, enjoy the World Series. You're very instrumental in one team being there, and you're on the edge of having the other one there as well. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Chip.
Craig, thank you very much. Great job with Chuck Lamar. Interesting, guys. Everyone still calls John Sherholtz Mr.
Sherholtz, that's correct, and he deserves that. He earns that title. And he came from the Orioles originally, went to Kansas City and developed a great tradition in Kansas City with the Royals, and then, of course, took that to Atlanta. But there's a lot of common ground there with all those great organizations.
So Manny Del Carmen in this 7th inning comes in and walks Bartlett. He walks Iwamura, and he's going to walk into the Boston dugout. 5-0, Tampa Bay leading in the 7th inning.
So I'm not worried about CEOs. I'm not worried about corporate lobbyists. I'm worried about the couple that's trying to figure out how they're going to retire. I'm worried about the family that's trying to figure out how they can save for their child's college education. I'm worried about the guy who's worked in a plant for 20 years and suddenly sees his job shipped overseas and has lost not just his job, but his health care, his pension, and the sense of dignity that comes with having a good job. That's who I'm worried about. That's who I'm going to be fighting for and thinking about every single day that I'm in the White House. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
You're right. We need a new TV. Just don't go overboard.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
Text Chase for your credit card balance and decide what to spend in seconds.
It's perfect.
Real-time info matters. Chase what matters.
5-0 at Fenway Park. We've talked a lot about this quick turnaround by the Tampa Bay Rays. Nothing quite as exciting as a worst to first season. That's what the Rays are enjoying here in 2008.
First 10 seasons, they combined for a 645 and 972 record. They spent only 20 days in first place.
So Joe Madden and his staff trying to put the hammer down tonight in the 7th inning. The champagne is on ice, we understand, in the Rays locker room. That's one of the radio reports we heard before the game at Fenway Park tonight, as Jonathan Papelbon is on in this 7th inning. Trying somehow, some way to get out of this are the Red Sox and see if their offense can muster something over the final 9 outs they still have left.
Well, this is a place right now where you can't allow Tampa Bay to score anymore. So good play by Terry Francona to bring in Papelbon. I remember saying to myself before the game, the key for the Red Sox is Papelbon appears in this game. I misspoke because getting down like this, you know, he's had to appear here in the 7th inning.
All you can do is just go with your best option, and this is, without question, Terry Francona's best option right now. 5 runs, obviously, when this Red Sox team is playing their regular offensive game, that can disappear in a heartbeat.
He's so sturdy, Jonathan Papelbon. Has gone more than 3 outs 11 times in his 14 postseason appearances. This might be another case.
So the man he'll face first is B.J. Upton, who's making a very strong bid to be the MVP of this series. Upton tonight 2 for 3, a 2-run homer in the first inning in the teeth of what was a 25-mile-an-hour wind. It just did reach the seats in left field for his 3rd home run of this series, his 6th of this postseason. He's also singled and scored a 2nd run tonight.
Well, his shoulder had plagued him all year long, but into the postseason he was healthy and he was swinging a hot bat. Tremendous acceleration through the hitting zone, great extension, a little bit of a toe tap and a toe twist just to get him on that backside, and when he explodes through the zone, there's not a ballpark around that can hold him.
So Upton gets booed as he stands in the batter's box. Not hard to understand that after the damage he has inflicted on the Red Sox in this series. 2 on, nobody out for Papelbon. 5-0 Rays. And that's outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
This is where Papelbon can exploit the outside with his fastball, because he can locate that fastball in all 4 quadrants of the strike zone and see if Varitek will try to get Upton away. They've had no luck whatsoever trying to crowd him.
And a pretty good back-to-back year for the Upton family as far as the playoffs concerned, huh? 1 ball, no strikes. That gets him moving off the plate. That's the pitch, Ronnie, you were talking about earlier tonight.
But you don't want your relievers coming in late in the game to have to do it. It has to be the starting pitchers. That way when the relievers come in, they don't have to take care of that kind of business.
Yeah, because the relievers are in a tough spot when they come into a game, and they don't have that luxury of pushing people off the plate. They just got to focus on getting them out.
Bartlett trying to time Papelbon at second base, trying to get a little double steal here for the Rays.
Another half step, and Papelbon wants to keep him close.
Well, Bartlett's been very proficient at stealing third base 9 times, which was second in the American League behind Ichiro Suzuki.
So as you heard Chuck Lamar say a few moments ago, they are an exceptionally balanced team. There they go. The pitch, a strike. The throw to third is not. A double steal. They're at second and third with nobody out.
4 steals in the game tonight to go along with 3 home runs. That's the kind of offense Tampa Bay features. Bartlett steals third base. He had 20 steals in the regular season. 4 more steals tonight. They are now 16 for 17 in the postseason.
And that's the way they play from inning 1 to inning 9. And the infield has to come in against Papelbon with a 2-1 count. And now 3-1. Pena waits on deck.
We talked about the Boston Red Sox offensively being relentless during the course of the season. That's just exactly what Tampa Bay has been in this championship series.
And it just seems so demoralizing with the home runs they've hit. Demoralizing only to the crowd at Fenway Park, certainly not to the fans watching back in Tampa St. Pete tonight.
Well, the hard part about it now with that steal, you have to have the infield in against the great power of Upton, but also Papelbon's pitching inside. You get in the place where he could break his bat and easily drop a hit into the outfield.
Now Varitek wants to talk things over.
Well, they've got to be concerned and talking about it's a 3-2 pitch. It's against the dangerous Upton. You know you have a left-hander up, but in this time of the game with the 5-run deficit, sometimes you might have to use that first base, so maybe go to a breaking pitch or something down in the strike zone to try to get a strikeout in this place.
Fought it off to stay alive.
Well, I always felt like if you had pitched to one good hitter and had another good hitter on deck and you had a base open, you were better off to start with a fresh count on the new hitter, because the guy at the plate's seen 5 and 6 pitches, got a pretty good feel for it. So I agree with you, Ron. I think this would be a good time for one of the rare split finger pitches that he throws. Just take a shot that you'll get a wild swing. Then you have the option of walking Carlos Pena.
But then you have to pitch to Longoria, and the way that those guys are swinging, it's pick your poison. Swing and a high fly ball left field. Back goes Bay at the monster. That one is off the monster. 1 run scores. Here comes Iwamura around. He will score. It's a double for Upton. 2 more RBIs and 4 tonight. And it's 7-0 in the 7th.
Unbelievable the way he gets after this fastball. He had seen several from Jonathan Papelbon, and for a moment he thought he'd hit it out. It's probably just a cool night that kept it in the ballpark. It's the top of the scoreboard, and 2 more runs come in as Upton continues to wear out fastballs.
As Pena stands in now, runner at second, they will walk him and try to play for a double play ball off the bat of Evan Longoria. Now some of the Fenway fans make their way to the exits as we may have a coronation tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, who are leading 7-0 in Game 5.
People standing in disbelief when you go into a series with Matsuzaka, Lester, and Beckett. You figure that they will be able to cool down even the hottest of hitters. The opposite has been the case.
Well, what's the old saying? Good pitching gets out good hitting. What happens when good hitting faces mediocre starting pitching?
But I think for the Fenway faithful, they can almost take it from anyone else, but not Papelbon. He's not supposed to be vulnerable. He's supposed to be able to throw that ball by Upton, and he wasn't either.
But isn't that one of the great mysteries about men that pitch the 9th inning? When it's not a safe situation for whatever reason, some will say it's not the same.
But you have to remember the Tampa Bay Rays tied the game up against Papelbon here in September. Joe Madden set Dan Johnson up to the plate in the 9th inning, down by a run. He hits a home run against Papelbon. So they believe they can beat anybody.
You're so right, Buck. How many times during the course of a season, when you're trying to have a championship season, you're facing your main foe, you always say to yourself, you got to beat their closer. We beat them, takes the shine off.
And one of the great stories about that blow from Dan Johnson against Jonathan Papelbon came from Don Zimmer, who's a special advisor for this Tampa Bay club. First Longoria, the hitter. After the Rays shocked the Red Sox in that game, Zimmer's rushing out to talk to Johnson. What did he say to the kid?
Well, when they lined up to congratulate one another, Zimmer stuck out his hand. He says, I don't know who you are, kid, but nice hit.
Only Zim. But that truly was another one of those signature moments for this 2008 Tampa Bay team. No balls and a strike. Longoria looks outside to even the count.
Johnson hadn't arrived at the ballpark until 6:45 just before the game started, and nobody had a chance to see him. He got loose and came in as a pinch hitter later on and got the pivotal hit in that game against Boston and helped the Rays win for the first time in this ballpark all season long. They would go on to win 2 out of 3 in that September 3-game series.
That's over the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. If there is another tendency we have seen from this Rays club, lots of hits. 7 runs on 7 hits tonight. And 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of the damage in Game 5 tonight. Off his thumbs to stay alive.
Well, and they have such a balanced attack. They have switch hitters in the lineup. They have lefties, righties, power, speed. They've got a nice mix of offense here, and no one's had an exceptional year. Don't have a 300 hitter, don't have a 100 RBI guy, don't have a 30 home run guy. But now they're on the verge of going to the World Series with just an overall balanced attack.
And so that leads to the obvious question as you look at this team. And Ron, I know you've seen the Phillies a lot, as we mentioned earlier. How do the Rays and Phillies match up in the 2008 World Series?
Well, I think you've got a hungry Phillies team. They've only won one title in 126 years. Last one being in 1980. And of course, this Tampa Bay team, young, hungry, trying to win a championship for the first time in their 11 years. I think it's going to be a fantastic series.
I think both teams are very athletic. They like to run. Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino at the top. They've got Utley, they've got Howard, they've got power. Same for the Rays. I think they're really well matched. I think the one advantage might be the back end of the Phillies bullpen with Brad Lidge.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 on, nobody out. And Longoria continues a terrific battle with Papelbon in the 7th, and Varitek out for another talk.
I think someone that might play a big part in this games against Tampa Bay, if they win this game against the Phillies, might be Carlos Ruiz. Their young catcher has a great arm, quick release, and that might be able to put a little dent in this armored truck that Tampa Bay has working right now.
Yeah, the way they have run the bases certainly puts pressure on the pitching staff, and then the depth of their bullpen and the versatility of their bullpen. They've got a nice mix down there as well.
2 more runs across in the 7th. And Papelbon piling up the pitches, up to 18 of them in this inning.
Well, Terry Francona had to take a shot. Had to try to keep it a 5-run game.
And it might be the man in the batter's box that provided the signature moment, the first signature moment maybe for the Rays in this series, when he hit that home run against Josh Beckett in the first inning at Tropicana Field. It's almost as if the Rays figured out we can play with these guys on the playoff stage, and we can beat these guys on a playoff stage.
Oh, a little changeup from Beckett, and able to hook that around the foul pole. To have that kind of power when you're out in your front foot. Remember now, he had that huge game in his first game against Chicago White Sox. Then after that, did not get a lot of hits.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster playoff for Longoria. And he hits a shot to short. Lowry to Pedroia for 1. Runner to third now with 2 men out. So Papelbon got the ground ball he was looking for. Now Carl Crawford is scheduled. First double play turned by the Red Sox defensively in tonight's game 5. 7-0, 2 outs. And Crawford is 0 for 3. Mentioned he's the longest tenured Ray, all-time leader with 1,111 hits. Leads him in runs scored, leads him in triples, leads him in stolen bases. And what a story that Scott Kazmir, franchise leader in wins. Crawford, the leader in many of those offensive categories, a chance to celebrate an American League championship perhaps tonight.
Fitting that Kyle Crawford would come back from his injury and be able to play in this postseason. And Rocco Baldelli, who got a start here. Crawford came up in 2002. Baldelli came up in 2003, and they were the face of the organization. But Baldelli had a physical disorder that kept him from playing until midseason this year. And then he hits a big home run in this series. Just emotionally a big lift for this team.
Kazmir's been over in the big leagues over 4 years. He's suffered a lot of losses too with this great outing tonight. I honestly think because of the length of this inning, that's probably the last inning for Kazmir. A couple of reasons. The length of the inning, and I also think that Joe Madden would love the young man to have an outstanding effort and just be able to sit on top of that these next days as he waits to face the Phillies.
30-minute half inning for the Tampa Bay offense. And that's a good point, Ron. We touched on how important Kazmir could be for the Rays in the World Series against the Phillies with the switch hitting and left-handed bats that they feature in the middle of that lineup with Howard and Utley and that Philadelphia wrecking crew and that very short porch in left at Citizens Bank Park. So Kazmir, should be on cloud 9 tonight.
Well, and once again, that's the art of managing, just putting your people in positions where you think they're going to excel, no matter what anybody else thinks. And everybody else was questioning Joe Madden, including myself. And I said, I don't know if this is the right move, but he knew Scott Kazmir and he knew what he was capable of doing.
Well, Terry Francona had the same situation with Josh Beckett in Game 2. All those leads that Beckett had, he couldn't hold them. Terry's rationale was, I felt that Josh Beckett was the right guy at that particular time and in that particular game. It just didn't work. As Crawford fists one toward third. Youkilis makes the play, and that retires the side. A 31-minute top half of the 7th inning. Plates a pair for the Rays, and they lead 7-0.
It was all over the place, literally. An IRA here, a bunch of funds there. That's why we kept putting off moving here. We thought it'd be a nightmare. But actually, with Schwab, it was the opposite. You get this concierge person. He did the paperwork, called the old firm for me, showed us around the website, all that stuff. It was a breeze.
World record holder Michael Phelps is the fastest swimmer ever, so I've come to this aquatic center to challenge him to a race on the internet. I'll be using this 3G AT&T Laptop Connect card. He won't. So I can download inventory reports faster, email business proposals faster, all on the go. I'm Bill Curtis, and I'm faster than Michael Phelps.
Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network and get the AT&T Laptop Connect card for free.
People like that, they have all the money, they have all the power. No options. They use it to make people like you go away. No justice. We provide leverage. No problem. Get ready to get even. Academy Award winner Timothy Hutton. Leverage.
What's in it for me?
Payback. Special series premiere Sunday, December 7th at 10 on TNT.
TBS invites you to a very funny festival.
Come laugh in Vegas, baby.
Where you can see the biggest names in comedy at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, including Jerry Seinfeld, Ellen DeGeneres, Jeff Dunham, Dane Cook, Cat Williams, Tracy Morgan, David Allen Greer, Andrew Dice Clay, The Kids in the Hall, a celebrity roast of Cheech and Chong, and many more live.
We're like one big family. Think of me as your gay cousin.
TBS presents the Comedy Festival, November 20th through the 22nd. Buy tickets now at thecomedyfestival.com.
Hail to the Chief and hail to Frank. While you're at it, he's just one guy, but he makes a big impression. Frank Caliendo's back. Don't miss all new episodes of Frank TV starting Tuesday at 11, only on TBS. Beautiful views of Fenway Park in Boston. Steve Angel, Ryan Chapman, Hal Kicklader, Andy Ransom, Tim Smith, and Matt Cunningham are fine camera operators this year. And that is cold. Boy, they are dancing in the streets of Tampa, St. Pete, and the Bay Area tonight. 7-0 Rays lead it. 9 outs to get. Lower third up, and Grant Balfour is on to pitch.
Well, he's probably been one of their MVPs out there in that bullpen. Coming in to protect this lead. Kazmir, as we talked about, out of the game. What an effort by him. 6 shutout innings.
Just 2 hits for Boston in this game. Their last hit came with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Lowry 1 for 12 in this series. Drives one deep to right. Gross back. That ball is off the base of the wall. Lowry on his way to second, and he'll stand with a double. So there's a start for the Red Sox. Balfour gives up a long 2-base hit.
Oh, just a fastball down and in. Balfour, if you're a hitter for the Red Sox, you're going to see what, 90% fastballs, especially with this 7-run lead. Lowry jumps on top and just misses, hitting it for a home run. Nice play by Gross off the wall.
And there's no reason for Grant Balfour to do anything other than throw fastballs right now. Obviously, in this situation, the last thing you want to do is get cute and walk yourself into trouble. He's got a great fastball, and he's got a lot of confidence in it.
And they should have confidence in their bullpen. The Rays' pen has given up just 3 hits with runners in scoring position this postseason. And now Varitek will try to improve those numbers here in the 7th inning. Varitek 0 for his last 12 in postseason. He's struck out in the 4th inning tonight. A healthy cut has him behind 0-1.
The problem is that you can almost get ahead of yourself here. Start thinking about the champagne, and you cannot do that. Have to execute your pitches, stay in the moment, close this up if you're the bullpen for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Wind not much of a factor. It's quieted for the most part after big time gusts in the first 3 or 4 innings tonight. Very comfortable evening.
You know, Buck, you said it. You said as time goes on in the series, we would get to know the starters for the Tampa Bay Rays, and probably the Q rating of their pedigree for the Boston starters was larger and more well known. But the Boston starters in the last 4 games, 16 2/3 innings pitched, 23 runs, 11 home runs.
And so that leads to the question is, if Boston is destined to lose this series, how do they catch up with the Rays' young starting rotation going into 2009?
Well, it's going to be tough. These are young, hungry kids. And they also had, you were talking about David Pride, who's out there, the left-hander, who could really kind of make that nice mix as diverse as you'd ever want, with 2 strong left-handers that can strike you out. Sonnenstein, of course, and Shields, who could go back and forth with those good changeups and sliders. And, of course, Garza, whose potential is limited.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great arms in that rotation and a diversity of styles. And that's what's so appealing about this. And for the regular season, the Rays starters had a better ERA than the Red Sox starters. Jim Hickey's done a heck of a job with his young team, and he's had this kind of ball club in the past, but a much more experienced team he coached down in Houston with Roger Clemens, Andy Pettit, and Roy Oswalt. Twice he went to the postseason with that group of pitchers.
Varitek gets a fly ball to center, but that's where they go to die. Upton is there. And 1 man is out in the 7th inning. Varitek is retired. Here's Kotze. Four putouts for Upton in center field in tonight's game. And with this wind blowing in the way it is, let them hit it as high and as hard as they want. It's not going to go out into that pasture tonight.
Just keep it on the outside part, keep them in the big part of the ballpark, and you should be in pretty good shape.
Just 3 hits for the Red Sox tonight, and in a place where they're accustomed to getting hits and knocking the ball out of the ballpark, the Rays pitching has kept them in check.
7 strikeouts for Kazmir. Now Balfour with a runner at second, 1 out. And that's way high and outside. Boston trying to somehow pull off a miracle late and also extend a very impressive streak. They have not been shot out at home in postseason play since September 10th, 1918, when the Cubs blanked them in the World Series. So 90 years of history may be on the line in this Game 5. Kotsay behind the count 1-2. Mentioned briefly the Red Sox, if this is going to be their season swan song tonight. How big of an off-season retooling will Theo Epstein, Terry Francona, and the Red Sox need to undergo to turn things around? I mean, after all, they did win 95 games this year.
Now, I think the biggest thing is health.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to look at Beckett. I don't think he was healthy when he started this postseason.
That's hit to left center. Upton had Kotsay played perfectly. How many times has Kotsay been denied in that spot in this series? 2 out.
You look at their position players in Boston, they're in pretty good shape. Outside of the catcher, and they have to make a decision about Jason Varitek. But with John Lester and Josh Beckett in the prime of their career, Daisuke Matsuzaka in the prime of his career, Justin Masterson, just a young kid coming over the great arm, Euclid in the prime of his career. Theo Epstein, the GM here, has done a great job of mixing the young players with the veteran players, and I think he's got a nice stream of young talent coming into this system. I mean, this is not a reflection of this team by any means. Yeah, they have been shut down by a better pitching staff. That's the bottom line.
And taking nothing away from Tampa Bay, to your point, this isn't the Red Sox team they envisioned having. It's not the same team they had in the first round of these playoffs.
Now, Mike Lowell, of course, is an integral part, but he has been banged up for a while. J.D. Drew's been banged up in August and September, and it's difficult. And, you know, everybody has to deal with injuries. I mean, they're not going to tell you that that's the problem, but as far as retooling, they just like to see their guys get healthy.
Yeah, Mike Lowell was such a big part of what the Red Sox did last year. MVP of the World Series. And a torn hip labrum. It was almost painful watching Mike try to gut his way through these playoff games for the Red Sox. He will have surgery early next week in New York City.
And to his credit, we did not see him limping around on the field, but we saw him limping around in the clubhouse. I mean, it's just a testimony to what a pro he is. He went out there and just played with everything he had. But then when you saw him in a relaxed atmosphere in the clubhouse, he could barely get around the clubhouse.
2 balls and a strike. Line drive left field. Lowry to third. Will stop as Crawford came charging in. And so Boston now has them first and third for Pedroia, who you know is thinking about making this a little more interesting and putting some offense on that scoreboard.
Yeah, that's not part of his vocabulary, giving up. He's never given up a thing in his life, and he's not about to give up yet. Coco Chris cuts a line drive past Longoria into left. And it's a 2-out rally, and certainly at a point where the Red Sox would like to get another big hit and just keep the pressure on this bullpen.
Yeah, to talk about how dominant Boston's offense has not been in this series. This will be only the 4th time in this series Pedroia has batted with a man on base in front of him. That hit by Crisp, his first in tonight's game.
Big Poppy looming on that on-deck circle. Yeah, Buck, a bloop and a blast, as they say, will do a lot to cure Boston's ills.
Well, it'll get you a little closer, that's for sure, and encourage you.
I think they need a couple of bloops, and then a couple of blasts. Down 7 runs. Here's Pedroia. Hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield yet. Nobody up in the Rays' pen. 7-run lead. With Ortiz waiting on deck. Euclid in the hole for Boston.
Balfour, who we saw in that Chicago White Sox series, remember that at bat against Cabrera, lots of emotion. Usually pitches with lots of emotion, not so much here with a 7-0 lead.
Foul at the knees. A called strike. Remarkable year for Pedroia this year. Ian Ichiro led the American League in hits. Pedroia may be the MVP of the league as he takes a called strike to even the count 2-2.
Hit .326 during the regular season and was instrumental in many of their long winning streaks, and at one point of the season actually hit cleanup behind David Ortiz.
He's trying to grind out a 2-out at bat in the 7th.
He's going to be wondering what it takes. Balfour goes 2-0 on him. The next 2 pitches on the black, on the knees.
Fought it off and stayed alive as he did so often this year with 2 strikes.
Hard to imagine, but he led the majors hitting with 2 strikes, hit nearly 300 at .298. He was 18 points higher than the next highest batting average with 2 strikes. Just shows you his determination.
It's almost he performs better when he's behind the 8 ball.
Well, he's been behind it his whole life.
Takes high. Pedroia, 5'9", 180 pounds, soaking wet, a second-round pick back in 2004 for the Red Sox, and now again the Fenway crowd trying to keep the dream alive. That is a Dustin Pedroia-like swing, isn't it?
Not a typical 2-strike swing, is it? This is what he's all about. He's always playing with the same emotion, same intensity, whether it's 7-0 Red Sox or they're down by 7.
Well, Balfour just got this pitch away just enough. That is the place where Pedroia has his power. That pitch, fastball up in the strike zone.
Line drive, right field. Gross plays it safe. A run is in. They're at the corners. 7-1. So that 90-year-old streak will continue. The Red Sox are not shut out at home in Game 5.
This is how you hit 300 when you have 2 strikes, is that you hit the pitch where it's put, outside fastball from Balfour, line to right field from Pedroia.
Big Papi 1 for 15 with Ben in scoring position in this series. No home runs in his last 61 at-bats during the postseason.
They've got 7 outs left. They're down 6 runs, and Papi takes the ball high. Ortiz 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 17 in this series. Swing and a drive, deep right field. If it's fair, it is way out of here. In the 7th, and we all of a sudden have a ball game again.
Well, down and in. If you are a pitcher and you're going to throw just 1 pitch, that fastball better be exceptional. It has not been exceptional on this night here as David Ortiz caught that fastball down and in, and no doubt about it.
So what has happened to Grant Balfour? 2 singles, a double, and a mammoth 3-run homer to Big Papi. It's a 7-4 game in favor of the Rays. Do you believe in miracles, Al Michaels once said. The Red Sox believe tonight and are still alive in Game 5.
The company that's brought America stylishly affordable vehicles has now made it even easier. Now you can get $5,000 cash back on the Kia Sedona minivan and the Kia Sorento midsize SUV. Both come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and a 5-star crash safety rating. That's 2 incredible vehicles, 1 incredible deal. With $5,000 cash back, how can you afford not to?
Booyah. Yes.
The easy-to-use Nikon D60 lets anyone capture a moving moment. With an interchangeable Nikkor lens for the sharp, rich images that make a Nikon a Nikon.
Got the shot. Very good.
The ultra-compact Nikon D60. And check out the highly awarded Nikon D300.
The Red Sox nation left the Boston club for dead with 2 outs in the 7th inning. Pedroia drives home a run. David Ortiz drives in 3 with a long homer. It's a 7-4 game, and Fenway is rocking once more.
David Ortiz gets that ball on the inner part of the plate, and it's down and right in his wheelhouse, and he didn't miss it. It's been a long drought since he's gone deep, but boy, if there was ever a timely moment for a home run, he came into that at bat, 61 postseason at bats without a home run, and he hits a big 3-run home run as part of this 4-run 7th inning.
So Balfour is retired. Here's Dan Wheeler. You talk about signature moments for Tampa Bay. Here's another one. Wheeler in game 2, 3 innings and a third of 1-hit relief in that 9-8 11 inning victory for the Tampa Bay club at Tropicana Field. So here's Youkilis. Crowd back in it. And strike 1.
Well, the Red Sox came down from a 3-0 deficit against the Yankees in 2004. 3-1 deficit against the Cleveland Indians last season. Can they come back from 3-1 and 7-0 here in Boston? Wow, that would be something.
Dustin Pedroia getting a 2-strike, 2-out RBI hit, encouraging the rest of the team as he's done all year.
And both of those have been in very short supply for Boston this entire ALCS.
He hasn't hit much with guys in scoring position. 4 times to that point.
Not quite a bloop and a blast, but it'll work for the Red Sox right now.
Well, they need a couple more now. 7-4 as Youkilis, a 1-1 count. He's 1 for 5 against Wheeler with a home run. High and tight. How did he get out of the way of that?
There's a fastball that's supposed to be away, a 4-seamer, and just gets underneath that fastball. This chases Youkilis inside, just misses.
Well, in Moneyball, they called Youkilis the Greek god of walks. He'd gladly take one here to give Bay a chance to make it a 1-run game, as that one catches the corner to even it up 2-2.
Well, most of the season it's been Pedroia and Youkilis back and forth as favorites for the MVP of this team. Again, they're in the center of the action here as they try to come back.
Largest comeback in the postseason history of the Red Sox. 3 runs. It's been done 4 separate times. They were down 7-0 in this 7th inning with 2 out. Full count.
2 outs and 2 strikes on Pedroia.
Telling themselves all game long to put up a crooked number. Couldn't put one up till the 7th.
And the long top half of this 7th inning chased Kazmir. Balfour came in and had big-time problems. And Euclid spoils another tough pitch.
That's one thing about managing is when you're contemplating taking a starter out, the big question is that guy in the pen going to be better than that guy on the mound? And the only thing that we could go by was because of the long inning, Kazmir on this cold night was removed.
3-2 pitch, fly ball well hit to right, but playable for Gross. Wheeler puts out the fire in the 7th, but the crowd at Fenway Park is back in it. Big Papi unloads with a 3-run homer. We've got a game in Game 5.
Why should we have you back at Frank TV?
Because if you don't, I'll have you fired.
It's my show.
You're fired.
No one is safe from being franked up.
You can't do that. Can he? You're sick.
That's horrible. Break out of here. Which camera am I supposed to look at? Cut, 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 cut.
All new episodes of the late-night sketch comedy Frank TV, starting Tuesday night at 11.
Only on TBS. Very funny.
So what do you want your iPhone to be today? With the MLB app from the App Store, it can be a score checker, live pitch updater, or a video highlight player. But any way you cut it, it's officially a game changer.
Welcome, Brooke Shields. What's on your mind?
Well, there's an epidemic sweeping our nation.
Really?
Women everywhere are having babies just to get the new Volkswagen Routan. Take this couple. Christine here is so seduced by German engineering, she's having a baby just to get it.
That's not why we're having a baby.
The strange man she barely knows.
I'm her husband.
Don't be like Christine. Have a baby for love, not for German engineering.
Lady, we're standing right here.
Learn what I'm doing to help at routanboom.org.
We should have seen this coming. Hey, batter, batter, batter. Hey, batter, batter, batter.
First base, $58. Second base, 630 pesos. Third base, 300,000 yen. Home, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's credit or debit MasterCard. Fan of the game, wherever there's a game.
I can't believe it. I'm fine. I'm finally...
Whoa, okay, all right. Excuse me, give him some space, thank you.
Give him some room, give him some room.
Did anyone stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night?
I'm a doctor.
Did anyone stay?
Stay smart. Stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS presented by Kia Motors. Boy, a tale of two games tonight. The Rays at one point led this thing 7-0. Boston with 4 in the bottom of the 7th inning has crept to within 3 runs. They have 6 outs left. And Jonathan Papelbon out to face Willie Ibar in the Rays' 8th inning. Ibar batted in the 6th inning for the first time tonight and popped out. And Papelbon takes a strike. So many times, Ronnie, we've talked about the need for a shutdown inning to keep momentum in or out of one dugout or the other.
Well, the Boston now has the momentum. It's come their way. They can feel now that they can come back in this game. Only a 3-run lead for the Tampa Bay Rays, but takes a 0 here by Papelbon.
And that's high to even the count to Ibar. Terry Francona 7-0 in ALCS elimination games. Needs a stop and a big rally. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Ibar.
Justin Masterson on your left, Javier Lopez on your right.
Served foul, and Ibar stays alive.
Ibar came on to pinch hit for Cliff Floyd back in the 6th inning. He popped up to first base. This was only at bat to this point. He hit well against the Red Sox during the regular season, over 400. They had a big night 2 nights ago in Game 4. Drove in 5 runs.
Off his thumbs, and he somehow keeps the at-bat alive. Ouch.
Now that's what Papelbon does so effectively with his fastball. He can really locate it, and it's 96 miles an hour. This is where Veritek most of the time will try to elevate the fastball and get the hitters to chase.
The battle continues here in the 8th.
Good at bat by Ibar. Has played for the Dodgers, the Braves. Now has found a home here, at least this season, with the Tampa Bay team.
Ibar began his career as a shortstop with the Dodgers organization. One of his childhood friends, Miguel Tejada, who grew up in Bani of the Dominican Republic. The splitter takes care of Ibar. Out number 1 in the 8th inning.
Oh, what a weapon to have, to be able to throw 96, 97 miles an hour on the black and then come with a split finger. Has the same kind of action coming to the plate and then kind of just slows down and takes a right turn.
Yeah, that split finger pitch is most effective after fastball strikes because it's designed to be a ball, but it's designed to make the hitter swing, and that's what happened to Ibar.
Here's Dioner Navarro, 0 for 3 in the game tonight. 3 for 19 in the series. And he looks at a ball outside, 1-0 the count. Boy, how big are those 2 walks issued by Manny Del Carmen looking in this ball game tonight. Back-to-back walks in the 7th. And the long double off the bat of Upton played at the 6th and 7th Rays run. Without that, might have a 5-4 game. Low ball 2.
Yeah, you just can't issue walks to good teams. They'll take advantage of it every time, and certainly B.J. Upton cashed in on it with that double off the wall against Papelbon.
Let's not forget Bartlett's steal, the shortstop steal at third base. Double steal allowed those 2 runs to come on home on the double by Upton.
Fly ball center field, well hit but playable.
Those balls that are hit sharply to center field are just hitting the wall. As soon as they get out there, no chance of hitting the ball. Very little chance hitting the ball over the center fielder's head.
Looking ahead to the Boston 8th. Still some thunder to come. Bay, Drew, then Lowry. For the Red Sox, they have 6 outs left. Here's Gross. I'd say Jonathan's loose.
Now that's the most difficult pitch to hit. If you're a good hitter, that fastball right in on the inside corner, you can't extend your arms and feel free to take a nice swing at it, and that's what makes Papelbon so effective.
overmatched him, 0-2. Shutdown inning the Red Sox needed. 7-4, bottom 8. Coming up for Boston, Bay, Drew, Lowry.
You can get a free rate quote online or over the phone.
So what if I want to talk to someone at 3 in the morning?
Today, we find a gecko confronted by man's curiosity. No, that's no problem, mate. Geico's got insurance specialists available 24/7. Fascinating. You can buy a policy, change your coverage, report a claim. Remarkable. Hey, you do know I can hear you, right?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The company that's brought America stylishly affordable vehicles has now made it even easier. Now you can get $5,000 cash back on the Kia Sedona minivan and the Kia Sorento midsize SUV. Both come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty and a 5-star crash safety rating. That's 2 incredible vehicles, 1 incredible deal. With $5,000 cash back, how can you afford not to?
What's this? The new BlackBerry? You've seen BlackBerries before. It's no big deal. Maybe one quick peek, just to see what all the fuss is about. Whoa.
Only one man can defy terrorists, defy gravity, and defy common decency.
Stay out of my business, Mustafa.
This is not my name. Adam Sandler.
Was that your feet?
You don't mess with a Zohan. Now on 2-disc DVD and Blu-ray high def.
If you electify me president for a 3rd term, I promise more Frank TV ads during the playoffs until you throw up.
All new episodes of the late-night sketch comedy Frank TV, starting Tuesday night at 11.
Only on TBS. Very funny.
After the postseason on TBS, The Office returns to its regular day and time, Tuesdays at 10, 9 Central. Followed by all new episodes of the late-night sketch comedy Frank TV, starting Tuesday, October 21st, only on TBS.
We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Jason Bay starts things off against Dan Wheeler. The Red Sox are hoping their tea time is this 8th inning. Bay 0 for 3 in the game, and lifetime against the Rays right-hander, 2 for 21, but both of those hits home runs.
You don't need to walk anybody.
And the more men that reach now means the more likely it is that Crisp and Pedroia and maybe Big Papi in the 9th.
You're probably at a part in this game where you take this pitch, right, Buck? 2-0, need base runners, make him throw a strike.
He didn't.
J.P. Howell.
Four straight walks Bay.
6 different pitchers with 2 or more saves. They're not hung up on one guy to close out a game. Joe Madden will go with what he sees.
And with that being said, not being hung up on it means they don't have that killer guy that they can bring in and just blow people away.
And they play a lot of close games. At least they did in regular season. 9 of their 10 wins against Boston were by 1 or 2 runs. Here's J.D. Drew. 0 for 2 with a walk. And he made him throw a strike. And Wheeler did. Drew, as you saw, 1 for 12. And 2 for 15 in this series. If ever there was a time for J.D. Drew to display that Mickey Mantle power, here it is. Swing and a drive, right field deep, track, wall, 1-run game.
J.D. Drew, a high fastball, level swing, and he hammers it to the seats in right. He hit the big home run against the Angels off Francisco Rodriguez to make the Red Sox a winner in Game 2, and he has got them within a run here with this 2-run shot.
Bedlam in Beantown. They're down a run. Tea time is indeed now for the Red Sox. 2 in, nobody out. Boston has to win to stay alive. They trailed this game 7-0. They have scored 6 unanswered runs. And Wheeler is rattled.
We talked about Rocco Baldelli. Dan Wheeler, of course, from Rhode Island also. Grew up a big Red Sox fan. Little added pressure on trying to close them out.
High fly ball on a 1-0 count. Lowry retired. 1 away.
So many players for Terry Francona's team at different points of the season came up with big hits. Veritek gets pinch hit for. Sean Casey will hit. And this team has had contributors in every aspect of the game. J.D. Drew hits the big home run tonight. His big June kept their hopes alive. When Big Papi was out of the lineup, he had 12 home runs in June. Hit the 2-run home run against the Angels to make the Red Sox a winner out in Anaheim. How about Dustin Pedroia's 2-out, 2-strike hit when the Red Sox were being shut out? Started that 4-run rally, and then Big Papi, in that long home run drought, delivers a 3-run shot. Sean Casey, 421 career in postseason. 8 hits in his last 11 at-bats in the postseason.
And 2 for 5 lifetime against Wheeler, who's ahead with a strike 1 call. If Casey reaches, the Red Sox have plenty of speed on their bench. They could run with Ellsbury. Remember, they carry 3 catchers with Ross and Cash, so that's not a problem for Terry Francona to pinch hit Veritek here in the 8th.
A visiting manager's nightmare. Yellow numbers on the scoreboard means the Sox are still hitting.
One and two. Pena guarding the line at first. Trying to keep a double out of play for Casey. Outfield straightaway all the way around. Sean does not run well. But a line drive doubles type play.
You get him on base, so you have Ellsbury to come in and pinch run.
2 in with 1 out in the 8th. And Casey's down on strikes. 2 away. First strikeout for Wheeler.
Frustration, of course, on Casey's face. Went to the changeup, did Dan Wheeler. After giving up that long home run on the cutter to Drew. Decides to try to go a little soft with that changeup away.
So it's up to Kotsay to keep this inning alive. Kotsay 1 for 3 in tonight's game, 1 for 2 against Wheeler. And at the very least, the Red Sox are going to have the top of their order up in the 9th inning. Down a run at the moment.
Look at Dustin Pedroia. He's ready to go. Give me one more whack at this guy.
He's going to get a whack at somebody. The only question is, will it be in this 8th or will it be in the 9th inning? Outside, ball 2. First 44 innings of this ALCS, Boston had 4 2-out RBIs. Last inning, 4. They bunch Kotsay in left and center. And he's ahead 2-0. Fly ball, well hit, left center. Upton going back. That ball is over his head. Kotsay around first on his way to second. Tying run aboard.
Two hits tonight for Mark Kotsay, and that's a big one right there. Gets him into scoring position. And watch how this ball slices away from B.J. Upton off the left-handed hitting Mark Kotsay. That ball slices over his glove. He's got great speed, but Kotsay drills it low below the wind, and it's able to get over Upton's glove. Got a piece of it, but couldn't make the catch.
So a hit could tie this game in the 8th. And Coco Crisp, the batter, 1 for 3. He came around on the Ortiz homer in the 7th. Way outside, ball 1.
Crisp has done a great job of hitting with runners in scoring position. In the second half of the season, he's hit .359. Arms in the outfield. Crawford average, but charges well. Tremendous arm in center and a very good arm in right field.
Kotsay getting a gigantic lead at second. A strike at the knees evens the count.
And you have to get that big lead. Any hit to left field. Coco Crisp in his last at bat with a line drive to left field, not able to score. Crawford so shallow in left field.
B.J. Upton had 16 assists in the regular season, second in the American League.
A little low. He also had 7 errors, though. Did Upton in the outfield. And Wheeler, 26 pitches in relief. Good cut, but 2-2.
Well, Crisp has to know he's going to get a good pitch. There's no way Wheeler wants to face Pedroia with 2 on. He is going to get a pitch to hit.
Pedroia got the scoring started. 2 out, 2 strike hit to drive home the first run for the Red Sox.
2-2. Two short innings ago, this one looked like a foregone conclusion. But the Red Sox never know how to say die in the ALCS.
And not in this house.
We'll do it again. Boston was down 3 games to 1 in last year's ALCS to the Indians. They came back, won it, and won the series. This would be the comeback of all comebacks. Coco Crisp will see an 8th pitch in the 8th inning.
To me, that always favors the hitter. You're gaining more confidence by wasting those borderline pitches.
He'll see a 9th.
The doubt creeps into the pitcher's mind now, thinking, how do I get this guy out?
Well, the problem for Wheeler is that he doesn't really have a choice of another pitch. He's got to go after Coco Crisp. He has to throw fastballs. Hope someone on his defense can make a play. Cannot walk Crisp, have to face Pedroia.
A tying run at second base in the form of Mark Kotze. A 9-pitch at bat working for Coco Crisp. In a 1-run must-win game for Boston. This is unbelievable.
Beautiful. Great at bat by Coco Crisp. Not trying to do too much. Short stroke. Different fingernails being chewed on here in Fenway Park.
The gap in right center for Crisp. As again, Wheeler ponders a 3-2 count.
Catcher's going out there. Kotze, veteran player on second base, now has seen what, 10 pitches, 11 pitches? Chance to know, he knows what the signs are. It's whether he and Crisp would communicate that. So what do? Change the signs.
It's hard to do that with 2 strikes.
Yes.
Early in the account, you can go ahead and get location, but it's hard with 2 strikes. You just got to protect the plate.
Long defensive inning. The Rays getting a little jelly-legged with a 3-2 count. Swing, base hit right field. Kotze around third. Gross loads up. Terrible throw. We are tied. The battle of wills won by Coco Crisp. Kotsay scores before the third out, and the Red Sox have life in the 8th inning. We're tied 7-7. We go to the 9th. The Red Sox try to complete what would be the second biggest deficit overcome to win a postseason game in history. They were 7-0 down. It's tied 7-7.
What a great at-bat by Coco Crisp. A very poor throw from Gabe Gross. Pena gets Crisp at second, but the damage is done as Coco Crisp has a tremendous at-bat with 2 outs and delivers as he's done in the second half of the season with runners in scoring position.
So new battery for Boston. It's Justin Masterson pitching to Kevin Cash. Jason Bartlett is the hitter for the Rays, who now face the 9th inning, tied 7-all. How many times, Buck, have you seen American League games in this ballpark? Teams jump out to an early lead, add on a run or 2 here and there, but somehow, some way, the magic of Fenway Park favors the home club.
Time and time again, you look up there in the 7th and 8th, they put up a 4 spot, put up a 3 in the 8th, they've tied it up, and this club never gives up. The personality of this team is remarkable.
2 quick strikes and a slider off the plate.
We talked about everything they didn't have. They didn't have Manny, they didn't have Michael, but they had Dustin Pedroia to get it started. They had Big Papi delivering finally with the long home run. And Coco Crisp, who's been so good in the second half, delivers the biggest hit of this ballgame.
Lined over short. What an at-bat by Bartlett, down 2 strikes. So the go-ahead run potentially for the Rays is on now in the 9th inning. And the top of the order, Iwamura, then Upton, with nobody out.
Well, trying to come inside is Masterson. That is middle. Good hitting by Bartlett. And here come the Rays right back. Interesting to see if Joe Madden decides with his leadoff hitter, Iwamura, to maybe put the bunt on, hit and run, could steal. Many options with Bartlett.
I might just go ahead and let him try to get a jump off Masterson. The toughest thing for a catcher coming in late in the game on a cold night is get your arm loose.
This year in Masterson's line, 10 stolen base attempts, 9 successful steals.
Well, he's a tall, lanky right-hander. Takes him a long time to get rid of the ball to home plate. So you see Kevin Cash says slide step. Wants to slide step to home to make him a little quicker.
There it is. And it's a strike to Iwamura. 2 walks, a single, 2 runs, 2 steals for the man in the batter's box.
Now, this is the value of a base runner at first base. It splits the attention of the pitcher. You try to keep him close, you slide step, you elevate a breaking ball, you're looking at a double down in the corner.
Nearly hit him with a slider inside as Youkilis creeps in at third, thinking Iwamura might want to try a bunt. He had 6 bunt hits this season. Rays have stolen 9 bases in 9 attempts in this ALCS against Boston's battery. And Bartlett, 20 of 26 in the regular season, stole 3rd in the 7th inning.
Third base coach Tom Foley with the signs.
Two balls and a strike. Manny Del Carmen, the youngster, came in the 7th, walked the 2 men he faced in that inning. Both of them scored. Now young Justin Masterson allows a hit and falls behind the Rays leadoff man in a tie game, 9th inning of play. He's going. Pitch swung on, hit high in the air to left, playable. Bay is under it. Iwamura took a shot at left, flies out. Four more RBIs tonight for B.J. Upton, a two-run homer in the first. And then the huge seventh inning double off Papelbon that chased home Bartlett and Iwamura for the sixth and seventh runs for the Rays. It was 7-0 then. Boston scored 7 unearned runs. And now somehow, someway, the Red Sox try to slow B.J. Upton, who is 3 for 4 again tonight. 8 for 20 in the series, 3 home runs, 10 driven in. And they've buzzed him twice in as many at-bats. First Papelbon, now Masterson.
Well, you try to make him as uncomfortable as possible, but this is not a bad matchup for B.J. Upton because Masterson pitches down. And Upton can hammer the ball down inner half. The slider will give him trouble to the outside half.
There has never been a player to hit for the cycle in postseason history. Upton, with his great speed, if he can punch a ball to the gap in right center, could very easily end up with a triple. That's all he needs to complete that cycle tonight. He could just as easily make the grand tour on an inside the Parker, too.
Then again, Masterson, concerned about Bartlett at first with the slide step, threw it way outside, well off the plate. Sometimes I would just assume my pitcher concentrate on making a good pitch and not worry so much about keeping the runner close.
Because then you can almost pitch around Upton if you have to. You know, Pena's a real tough hitter, but that way you wouldn't have to give up on anything to hit.
Runner at first started, then stopped. Upton took a close pitch. Now ahead is he, 3 balls and a strike.
Alfonso Marquez has had a nice game behind the plate. No complaints from either side. That a ball.
I think that's the first time we've mentioned him.
Runner goes. 3-1 pitch. That's ball 4. Ball 4. 2 men on with 1 out. First and second. Good throw by Cash. And now Pena coming up.
And Cash can really throw. He has always had a real true arm. And now a little conversation. Back to runner at second base. A little conversation about Pena making him stop at second base. Carlos Pena in September with a game-winning 3-run home run in the 14th inning off Mike Timlin. That would lead the Rays to their series sweep here. The first 2 wins all year long came in September in this ballpark. Coming into tonight, they've won 4 straight.
And as you see, Pena has been huge with clutch hits. And against Masterson, 3 for 6 with a home run. Boston looking for a ground ball here to get out of this 9th inning. 1 ball, no strikes. Pena unbelievably hit with just 2 double plays this year.
Well, the problem you have is that when you have runners on base in first and second, not able to employ that shift that you like to use against Pena, who hits a lot of balls between the first and second base hole.
Either threw it on the ground or in the air over it, which is what he did in the 3rd inning. A long 2-run homer. Double play ball. 4, 6, 3. The Red Sox have a chance to win it in the 9th. Pedroia starts the double play. He'll start the 9th. We told you midway through this game the Red Sox needed a miracle. 4 in the 7th, 3 in the 8th. Now Pedroia, Ortiz, and Youkilis can send this game back to St. Pete this weekend. And J.P. Howell fires a strike to Dustin Pedroia. Pedroia's 7th inning single. A huge hit. Ground ball. Longoria deflects. Bartlett recovers. And a 5-6-3 beautiful play in the 9th.
What a play. Great concentration by Bartlett. Not only does he have to deal with Longoria diving in front of him, but Longoria deflects the ball. Longoria's got great range to his left, but watch the deflection, and it goes right to Bartlett, who is heads up and makes a tremendous play. That's not easy to do. You're going in one direction. You got to change direction after the deflection, and Bartlett's right there to pick up Longoria.
Here's Ortiz, 1 for 11 against Howell. That hit a homer. 10 game-winning RBIs in his postseason career. Can Big Papi end it in the 9th? Manny Ramirez, Bernie Williams tied with Ortiz with that number 10. The shift is on. He's got the entire left side of the infield. And that's the way Howell pitches him.
Well, just got a fastball down and in. We talked about him pulling most of the pitches, pulling off a little, but got that pitch right in the wheelhouse.
A couple of minutes past midnight in Boston. And the 1-1. He tried a bunt. And now is down to his last strike.
Not a bad idea. Lefty against lefty. You got Youkilis on deck, and certainly anything down the third baseline. There you see the third baseman Longoria right behind the pitcher. But Ortiz fouled it off. Not a bad time to do it at all. With the left-hander Howell on the mound and Youkilis behind him.
Ortiz 1 for 11 against Howell. That hit a homer. Now with a 1-2 count. Two it out. So Kevin Youkilis, the final 9th inning hope. Youkilis 3 for 8.
Good breaking ball by Howell. Employs a couple of different ones. Changes the curve on it. Takes a little off on this pitch.
Youkilis 3 for 8 against Howell. Crowd chanting Uke. Youkilis, a home run in this series. 5th inning of that wild game 2. An 11-inning affair won by the Rays 9-8. Two-out RBIs for the Red Sox in their last 2 innings after having 4 in the first 44 innings of this series in the ALCS. Low and in, ball 2.
Howell has such a good changeup that you got to believe Youkilis is thinking about staying the big part of the field, staying on the changeup. And if Howell makes a mistake with it, his hands will take care of it and hit it to left. But you've got to think big part of the field if you're going to hit the changeup.
Couldn't pull the trigger. 2-2.
Now you can't look for a pitch. You just got to protect the plate.
React. Howell does such a nice job of hiding that curveball also.
Howell, who earlier in this series said we are at our best when things look their worst. Trying to go right through the 2, 3, 4 hitters in this Red Sox lineup in the 9th inning. Not much wind to speak of. At long last, it's finally calmed at Fenway Park.
Well, that's a good breaking ball, good changeup combination. It's difficult to get a hitter as accomplished as Youkilis is to swing and miss at a changeup or foul it off, be so far out in front with 2 strikes.
We were commenting before that both Youkilis and Pedroia very rarely give up any at-bats. But a toughness to their at-bats.
They had to fight their whole life to get at-bats, and they're not going to give any away.
Youkilis asks for time. It's granted. With the bases empty and a 2-2 count. And this battle somewhat reminiscent of that one featuring Coco Crisp 1 short inning ago.
You just see so many of the breaking pitches, though, that at some point it's hard to continue to throw those curveballs and changeup perfectly down. After a while, you feel at some point one of them is going to be up in the strike zone.
What you tell yourself is watch it out of his hand. Curveball changeup. He doesn't have enough fastball to beat you with 2 strikes. You figure you can foul off his best fastball and hope that he makes a mistake with the breaking ball or changeup. J.P. Howe hasn't made many mistakes all year long.
6-1 in 64 games during the regular season. And now Youkilis works a full count. If he can reach that man, would have a chance as well in the 9th inning. Jason Bay. Ground ball toward third. Oh, what a pickup. Longoria. Low throw, bad throw. It's in the seats. Will that be the significant play of this game? Winning run in scoring position. A great stop, a bad throw. 2 out.
He makes a tremendous backhand grab right in the pocket, has plenty of time, but the throw is short of the mark and over the glove of Carlos Pena. Pena's as good as anybody in the league at digging balls out of the dirt, but he can't dig this one out.
No, that's an in-between hop. It almost looked like there was relief on Longoria's face as soon as he made this pickup, relaxed just a little bit. That took the throw wide.
That's his 3rd error in this series.
And that'll be an infield hit and E5. And now they'll take the bat out of the hands of Bay and pitch to J.D. Drew. And here again some of the unconventional thinking of Joe Madden. It sets up a lefty-lefty matchup with Howell and Drew, but J.D. Drew's 4 for 7 against Howell in his career.
But still, given the way that Jason Bay has hit in the postseason, this is the percentage move.
J.D. Drew made it a 1-run game in his last at-bat.
Well, he had the huge at-bat against the Angels to get the Red Sox into this ALCS. And here, this huge home run to get him close.
If the Red Sox win this game, Beckett for Game 6. If they lose this game, the Rays are American League champions. Here's Drew. Time called by Navarro.
Well, the 2-out RBIs for the Red Sox against the Angels was tremendous. In this ALCS, they started out 3 for 21 in 2-out RBI situations. Since then, 4 for 4.
First and second for Boston. Nearly hit it. And Howell immediately discards that baseball.
That one's not breaking, so he throws that one out. Just trying to throw that a little too hard. Euclid has got to be careful. He's getting a big lead at second base, which he has to do. As you see, the manager coming out to speak to his young pitcher.
Chip, you related a story about Joe Madden visiting with Scott Kazmir last year, talking about a playoff situation. This looks like a similar type of visit. What's going on, JP? Let's slow things down a little bit, man. You've been here before. You can do this.
Problem is, hasn't been here before in this kind of game. So good of the manager to go out there.
You want levity here if you're the pitcher in a situation like this, or do you want straight talk from the skipper?
No levity doesn't work here. Can barely breathe. Can't get any saliva. There's no laughing.
So the chat, a brief one.
I was saying about Euclid, though. Remember in the second game, he got a big lead off second with 2 outs. Navarro threw down there, so you have to be very careful. You want a big lead because of Crawford in left, the good arms in center and right, but still have to be wary of the strong throwing Navarro.
The youngster Jed Lowry waits on deck. Again, J.D. Drew has seen Howell and hit Howell. Big gap left center. But you better hit it on a line or Upton a chance to catch it. Boy, did he take a lot off on that pitch, didn't he? Get me over changeup, 3 balls and a strike.
You don't want to aim it, but sometimes you have to.
Boy, he didn't follow through. He didn't follow through at all.
Euclid, the potential winning run at second. 3-1. Swing, line drive, right field. We're going to Tampa. As devastating as the loss in Game 2 was for Boston, how devastating is this one for the Rays?
7-run lead evaporates in a heartbeat as J.D. Drew comes through twice tonight. 9th inning single over the head of Gabe Gross. J.P. Howe, lefty on lefty. Roll of the dice by Joe Madden, the intentional walk to set up the lefty-lefty matchup, and J.D. Drew spoils it.
J.D. Drew now 5 for 8 off J.P. Howell.
Again, the unconventional move turned into gold for the Boston Red Sox. And now, as we look ahead, big picture, a day off tomorrow, and we are going to St. Pete, Shields and Beckett for Game 6, and maybe Garza and Lester for Game 7. Pandemonium in Boston as we join Craig Sager.
Well, an intentional walk to Jason Bay to face J.D. Drew. What was going through your mind when you knew you got a chance to face Hall and a chance to win this game?
Yeah, it's a big opportunity. Just trying to relax. I'm in a situation I haven't had a whole lot of at-bats, so good feeling. Got a good pitch to hit. Worked out well.
You said relax. This team was down 7-0. Nobody in this Fenway Park was relaxed. They're very nervous. What was it like in the dugout? You got things going. That 2-run home in the 8th.
Yeah, Poppy hit that big home run. We got some runs on the board. Pap shut him down. We wanted to come back in and keep it rolling. And I was able to hit the 2-run home run. Coco came up with a big hit. It led to a good night.
How nerve-wracking was it, maybe in the dugout after the speech by Tito Francona before the game, to fall behind 7-0?
Yeah, it's tough. But I think this team has battled all year, and we're in a situation where, 7 runs, we know we can make that up. If it works out, and we got guys on base, a couple big hits, it worked out.
And the big hit to get things going, the home run by Big Papi. 7th inning, down 7-0. You have been struggling, one hit in this series in the last 19 at-bats, I think it was. No home runs in 61 postseason at-bats. What was it like when you hit that home run?
Nothing, man. I'm the kind of guy that I fight back. It doesn't matter what the situation that we're going. I have done it before, and I'm just going to keep on trying.
This ballpark was built in 1912. You've been part of so many great games, but I don't think anybody's ever seen one like this. How do you describe what happened tonight, winning 8-7 after being down 7-0?
Well, those guys, they've been swinging the bat really good, and it's hard to, score and come through like this, like we did tonight, when you have guys putting some good at bat, hitting the ball good like they have done. But nothing, man. We're going to go back to Tampa and try to fight back.
A year ago in this situation, you were down 3-1, Cleveland. You called a players-only meeting. The team stormed back, won the World Series. Tonight, another rare meeting in the clubhouse, first one since August 1st. What was the message there tonight?
Well, it was Tito. He just said, we've been here before, and let's try to do it again. The game is not over until it's over.
And this series isn't over either. I'll see you in Tampa.
Hey, thanks.
Back to you, Chip.